It's
Like, it's not
Fallout.
just Fallout. It's Bethesda's
I keep
games
forgetting
in
that.
general.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. So I have a little story for you guys. A little tiny itty bitty, itty little itty schmidgy of a story, right?
Oh no.
So, like I said, no, it's a tiny little story. So, like I said, here I am helping someone because they are worried that their email's broken. They've gone 2 whole days without receiving an email. Which, fair
Many
enough.
such cases.
So I'm trying to get any information I can out of their computer, and nothing seems wrong with their computer. I'm like, oh, okay, let me check the web server for any sort of issues with the web server. No, everything's okay. And then I checked the message trace for the web server, and bro's just flat out not received a single fucking email.
Is he using Outlook, Office? What's he using?
No, he's using Outlook, but the email server never updated his email with any new emails because he never got a new email.
So he just didn't get any email.
Yeah. He's like, no, I received tons of emails. I'm like, I don't know what to tell you, buddy. Not today.
Yeah, it happens sometimes.
Yeah. But, if I'm not here within 25 minutes, does that mean you're free? No, it actually means the curse doubles. It gets worse. But we are not here for whatever free-form cursing you want to implement upon yourself. We're not even here to listen about how people just don't really understand how technology works. We're here for dog shit fan fiction. Now, I will also say that fella did not ever message me back. Private messaging inbox. Oh wait, no, did he message me back? He did message me back.
Didn't you say he messaged you back like 10 minutes after you?
That was last time. He blocked me.
Not surprised.
Woo.
Surprised it took him this long before he bitched out.
Yeah, I know, right? So what I do want to find then is
Why the fuck is it in like a third program? Trying to fucking turn off
Supersonic Wind. Let's see here. That's why. So he did. Oh no, he just blocked me. He didn't even respond. He just blocked me.
What a bitch.
Yeah. What a fucking little coward. Weak, pathetic. Oh, not much really. I didn't expect him to even respond in the first place, but he did. And then he responded by blocking me. I always really love it when they do that too.
Because it shows you win.
Well, I mean, it's not just that, but it's they have some sort of snappy comeback and then they block you. It's like,
yeah.
Got the last word in.
You've mentioned how you've gotten DMs or in your mail with like comments, but you can't actually read them because they get cut off.
Yeah, it's just like, if you want to block me, it's fine. That's whatever. It's like, I don't fucking care. But if you're gonna come in and be like, yeah, well, words and stuff, haha, I got the last word on this conversation, and then block me, you're just a fucking little bitch. You're just pathetic.
Just block the conversation. Move the fuck on with your life. Don't be a bitch.
Yeah, it's like, oh, I'm sorry, you gotta print out 5 fucking paragraphs about how I'm wrong, you're right, and then you block me because you don't want me to sit here and fucking demolish you because you know I will? That's kind of fun. Maybe. You don't throw a stone from your glass house.
I mean, you'd have to be some kind of masochist to keep coming back when you know somebody's just going to keep beating you like that.
Yeah, well, there aren't a lot of smart people out there.
Many such cases.
It's sad.
Indeed. So anyway, Atin and Max will not be joining us tonight because they are having heavy, sweaty gay sex with each other.
So
I don't think that's what they're doing, but sure, dude.
It was said on stream. You can't disprove it, and they're not here to deny it.
Exactly. I mean, if they want to deny it, they can come on stream and deny it. But
I mean, I can also say you're currently being petty, but yeah.
No,
that's just facts.
Yeah. I was
Facts
talking
and
about
logic.
All right.
cave pool. What the fuck is this? Cave pools and insults, a Pokemon AU fanfic. And the summary just reads 120.
Excuse you?
I don't know. What goes around comes around. I had no doubt delusions of being a good man. After all, I joined Team Galactic because of the promised wealth and power. Immoral, maybe, but rational. Not really. I mean, the reason why you don't see too many intelligent people getting involved in crimes actually because a lot of intelligent people look at crime and go, wow, A, that's a lot of effort. B, it's gonna fucking blow back on me someday, and I don't want that smoke.
Well, it depends on the type of crime, too.
Oh, well, sure, obviously. Yeah, I mean, obviously you're gonna see a lot more smart people committing complicated insurance fraud than, fucking stealing $1 gum from the convenience store.
Yes.
But, still. Reshaping the world in your image, though, that's the goal of a madman. I just want my money and power. But during my escape, you killed my team. Now it's personal. This is a classic situation of the author is a midwit, where they come up with this idea that they can just, join a criminal enterprise, get a bunch of money, and then just leave.
Don't you know that's totally how that works?
Where the fuck are you finding $1 gum? That shit doesn't exist anymore.
Right?
Man.
5 packs.
Man, why you gotta hit me like that?
Like 1 5-stick pack of fucking juicy fruit or Big Red or something.
$1 a stick gum.
The fuck?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. It's gonna happen.
No.
Conqueror. 2 young trainers, Ash Ketchum and Cynthia Caroline, leave Pallet Town to traverse the unknown and bond with mythical creatures known as Pokemon. With their trusty starters by their sides, will our protagonists conquer the unknown and survive the hardship awaiting them on their journey? Or will they succumb to the harsh world and get conquered themselves? Only time will tell. Well, considering the fact that you are having a story in which children are involved, it is rated M, and it's slapping Cynthia and Ash into the pairing section here. I'm going to say that, again, this is one of those stories that makes very little sense to actually sit here and ask me these sorts of questions of, ooh, can this happen? Will this happen? What happens? Read to find out. Where it's like, well, the answer is yes, they will succeed. I really hope your entire story wasn't based off of the question asking portion of this summary, because I've seen it plenty of times, but it's just like, hey, this is a young adult novel, right? And it's an action adventure story, and will the random young adult who is the main character succeed in his quest to finding out the truth and stopping the bad guys, or will he die and stuff? It's like, well,
I hate summaries that ask a question.
yeah, it's like, well, obviously he's gonna fucking succeed, because it's a young adult novel, not some sort of philosophical treatise on war and peace.
Well, now hang on. Remember who they've got for the pairing there. There's a good chance that spoilers they fuck.
Well, yes, but that's another
It's
part
not
of my
exactly
point.
young adult.
Okay, yes, but I was using young adult as a general reference of, like, your general young adult fic doesn't have the main character lose. Like, period. Like, oh yeah, sure, they really have to tough it out, and a lot of inconveniences pop up along the way, but like the main character generally never loses.
What are you talking about?
Or at least not
Young
so
adult
severely.
stories.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, these shonen in this applies to shonen in general, is that sure, the main character loses, but they never lose in a way that's actually meaningful, that results in like a character not showing up anymore in the story. Like, this is why I loved the Newsflesh series, and I mean, I've talked about this dozens of times now, so if this is gonna spoil the series for you, tough shit. Should have read the fucking series before now. The Newsflash series is from this perspective of the sister and adopted twin, not twins, adopted sister and adopted brother pair that these rich parents were raising. And it's called Newsflash because it's about a post-apocalyptic world where the zombie apocalypse occurred, but unlike every other zombie apocalypse story, this zombie apocalypse happened in a world where we had a bunch of stories about zombie apocalypses. So people kind of started to really understand how to fight the zombies really fucking fast.
Everyone knew what to do right off the bat.
Yeah. And so basically, blogging ended up taking over the news effectively, because, well, if you think about it, the author does raise a good point with this, right? Because blogging is essentially a decentralized newspaper, right? As long as you have internet and the ability to access the internet, right? So power and the ability to access the internet, you can get to someone's blog page. You're not loading up a video that's taking gigabytes and gigabytes of space. Like, anyone can load up a blog page, right? And so it's based, and these like major news companies obviously fell apart during the apocalypse because, well, a lot of their shit was centralized, and you can't really run a news station in a city. You can't.
Fair.
Yeah, you can't really run anything in a city, actually. Like, pretty much all of the cities got instantly abandoned by everyone.
Based.
because well, there's several million zombies in them. So
Many such cases.
yeah. And so you're
I mean,
blogging.
that kind of describes the world today.
Yeah, right. So blogging takes over, and bloggers ended up becoming. You end up becoming one of two types of bloggers, right? And that what you had the Irwins, the people who made TikTok, YouTube content, effectively, where they're like, "Hey, I'm gonna go poke a zombie with this hockey puck and see if I can kill 10 zombies with them." You know, shit
And
like
then
that.
someone McFucking dies.
And then you have like the newsies or whatever they were called, the factuals or whatever, you know, teenager nickname that came up with them, where
Yeah.
they would sit there and be like, all right, so in Ellisburg today there was a 12-person zombie breakout, so these routes are going to be bad, blah blah blah. And the sister in this story does the factual news, and the brother does a bunch of Irwin news. And it was like either in the first or second book, the sister fucking just right at the end. I think it was right at the end of the first book. The sister just fucking dies.
Oof.
Like, they had this whole moment where she gets the zombie virus, and they're panicking. They're like, "Oh fuck! Oh shit! Oh fuck!" You know, and she's like, "You have to shoot me! You have to shoot me! You know you have to shoot me! I'm gonna turn." And he's like, "No, maybe you're immune," because part of what they were doing in the first book and throughout the entire series is they were trying to investigate this whole immunity thing that they were hearing rumors of, and that people were getting killed by the government over.
Yes, the government kills its own people because something.
Yes.
Many such cases.
Well, basically, so the government that survived in the Newsflesh series ended up becoming this like near totalitarian government in terms of their power, and they were able to institute a whole bunch of society laws because effectively what it is that everyone's infected with the zombie virus, but it doesn't activate until someone with the activated virus gets bit. So someone without the activated virus gets bit by someone with the activated virus. And then that activates their virus, which is why they turn themselves. And what it turns out is that throughout the series, it gets revealed that actually certain people were immune to the zombie virus, and it was expressed in a couple different ways. But one of the ways it got expressed in certain people was that they would get bit, they would have a flare-up where they would start acting like a zombie, and then the body would quarantine that virus into a certain section of their body, which would express these zombie-like traits forever onwards, but then the person would just go back to normal.
And that's what he was banking on.
And it turns out that, you know, if people knew about the immunity, it would, which, again, this is another situation where it's like, I actually kind of understand where the government's coming from with this. If it got out that people could be immune, you would have a giant rash of cases of people getting bit and then being like, wait, no, don't kill them, maybe they're immune. And then this person zombifies, and they're like, "Oh, but maybe they'll detransition. Maybe they'll, you know, become normal again. We can't know. Oh my God, they're eating me!" And then a zombie outbreak occurs.
Right.
And like you already, obviously in this post-apocalypse, because people are people, you already have people not reporting active bites because they don't want to be killed or quarantined. And if you tell people that maybe there's a chance that if they keep it on the low, they might end up being immune. Ooh. They're still people. Yeah, exactly. Like this is what I actually loved about the Newsflesh series, is that everyone is written like a person. It's not just like, oh, I'm evil because it's my job to be evil, or it's like, oh, I'm the government and it's my job to be evil here. It's like, no, the government was still evil, but they are evil because of normal reasons. And not because they're the government in the story, so therefore they have to be evil. Right?
Right.
So it was an interesting series because they just fucking killed one of the main characters right at the end of the book. And you're just like, fucking what? Like they're making their way through the entire book, dodging the government at one point bombed their city block because they had gotten in contact with some sort of hacker that got them information on one of their black sites they were studying this stuff at or whatever. The area collapses and the zombies start flooding in. They have to fucking get out of this ghetto before it's too late. And so they're dodging through some insane situations throughout the entire book, and then right at the end, the fucking girl gets bit. She turns, and he's like, "Ah, fuck! I have to shoot him." So they have the brother shoot the sister. That's how the book ends.
Second book picks up, and he didn't actually kill her. He shot off
Nope.
the side.
He killed her. Painted her brains across the wall.
Wait, he didn't wait and give her a chance?
He did wait.
Like, tie her up.
So
Oh,
basically,
he did wait.
yeah, right at the end, basically he waited because the sister had one of the virus wells already exposing. So he was like, wait, you already have a virus well. That means you can make more virus wells. You might be immune. And she's like, fine, now, tie me up and everything. And so he does, and they're waiting, and she turns, and then she doesn't turn back.
Okay, so if you get bit the first time and you beat it by making this virus well, if you get bit a second time, you could still just straight up become a zombie.
Yeah, so what they found out is that, yes, people who survive the first bite, by the end of the series, they find out that but people survive the first bite have a higher chance of surviving the next bite. But it's a higher chance. It's not a guarantee. It's not like Left 4 Dead, where, oh, you got bit, you didn't turn, that means you're good forever. It was...
That's kind of dumb.
Each time you have a virus surge, I think it was like, if you survive with 3 virus wells in you, you're pretty much immune at that point. I think that's how they had it. But it was up until that third one. You had a chance of not turning back. Because it was like basically like your body has to get exposed to enough live virus over enough long enough period of time to figure it out or something. It's like, I don't know. But whatever. It's the point being is that it's doesn't make so much biological sense, but it was explained just enough in a reasonable sounding way that I went, oh, okay, it makes sense. All right. Sure. Maybe, if that's how you want to roll it, yeah, that's fine, yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
In many such cases.
But yeah, no, the second book is even more fucking brutal because, obviously the brother goes on to carry out their research and he learns that when he got tested, because he got bit later on, and he ends up in this lab facility because he's like, oh, well, don't kill me. My sister had the virus wells, and I know you guys are studying this shit, and I just got bit like an hour ago, so take my blood and see if I'm going to be immune or not. And it turns out he is immune. Turns out that she also was immune.
So if he'd have waited...
Yeah, and that fucking destroys him too. Like, this isn't like
Oh.
I'm a sad boy for an hour or some shit. This is like I am now suicidally sad.
And this isn't a kid's.
This is
book?
a young adult's book, yeah. This is a young adult's
What
book.
the fuck?
Yeah, it got fucking dark. And then it ended with incest.
Excuse you?
Yeah, so it turns out the reason why the population of the zombies wasn't going down was because the government. This is where it gets into comically evil, but I mean,
are we hitting Vault Tech levels?
yeah, we're getting into Vault Tech comically evil levels. Yeah, this is so to close out the series. The government is doing clearly inspired by the movies Resident Evil, not the games. The government is basically taking the blood of people that they knew to be immune and cloning them and doing horrific testing on them to basically make to weed out who has the best immunity gene, because it's not some sort of universal gene. It's being expressed in different ways in a lot of people. So every single time someone is found out to be immune, they die of an accident later, get their DNA harvested, and then the government clones them a bunch to see who the most immune is, which is why there's a bunch of fucking why the zombie population never seems to go down. It's because they were creating thousands upon thousands of zombies doing this and then just
Yeah, that
releasing them
makes
back into
sense.
the environment.
Wait, what? Why didn't they fucking kill him?
Because they're comically evil.
Oh, of course.
Yeah, so anyway, his sister was one of the clones, and apparently the government was planning on releasing the clone back to him, or brainwashing the clone and leveraging it back to him. Which, by the way, apparently clones carry genetic memory in the DNA? Question mark.
Well, why the fuck not at this point?
Yeah, it's just like, okay. And then
The virus did it, it's fine.
there was a fucking moment where it's just out of left field where the brother, everyone's like, what the fuck? You're definitely fucking dead. Don't pull this shit with us. We saw you all die. We cleaned up your body. The brother's like, I will shoot you again if you don't explain what the fuck is going on here.
Nice.
And
The thing is that now they are two corpses in one grave.
And the sister, the cloned sister, is like, you see, I am clone 600 something or other, and I escaped. And he's like, how do I know you're not a government plant? Tell the truth. You could just be reciting things that the government spied on me to get the information for. Tell me something that only you would have known. So she walks up to him and starts making out with him.
Oh dear.
That escalated.
And he's like,
Quickly.
and everyone's like, what the fuck? Yo, bro, shoot her now. She's clearly just trying to honey trap you. And he's like, actually, she wasn't wrong on that. That is something that we have shared with no one.
Oh, okay.
And everyone's like, bruh.
I assume she was brainwashed though.
No. Yeah,
She really did escape?
Yeah, it turns out, yeah, she actually did escape and all that fun stuff, yeah. Because the implication of the brainwashing was that because of how televised their lives had been, it would be really hard for him to be like, it would be really easy for the government to basically take their entire blog's history and then brainwash the person to knowing that entire history, because they probably talked about nearly every aspect of their lives on the blog at some point somewhere.
Right.
And so it would be really hard for him to come up with something that they definitely never mentioned at any point in time anywhere ever. Except that one thing, and he's like, oh shit, she kissed me, she has the sister's memories, this is real.
Okay, and she was his adopted stepsister.
Adopted sister, question mark.
Oh, okay. That's not incest.
Basically, the parent adopted both of them, I think it was like separately. And so they never really knew if they were actually brother and sister young.
So probably not.
Yeah.
But I'm guessing the author left it just vague enough for there to be a little bit of swig.
Probably.
Yeah, that sounds about right. Why is this in a young adult novel?
I mean, that was the fucking wildest part, man. It was like, why is this in a young adult novel? But what my point though is I appreciate the story being just real shit and just being like, hey, you know this main character? Yeah, she got bit by a zombie. Oh, so you're gonna like come out that she's got like the immunity or something, right? Nope. She's gonna like get saved by a cure or something, right? No.
No, she did, motherfucker.
We're gonna make the brother
No, she
shooter
fucking did.
in the head.
Jesus.
Oh. Well, fuck. Yeah, it's one of those stories that I was just like, oh. So we're playing real shit stakes here. Okay, got it. We ain't fucking around on this one. But to reel it all the way back in, I hate stories that have question marks in their summaries. It's an action adventure story. Nearly 99% of the time, the answer is fucking obviously he becomes the hero and takes up the mantle and saves the day and defeats the bad guy. Because that's the point of this story. Dark Souls. Now I will defend it because, you know, I did question marks. When Max and I wrote the Dark Souls story, we did question marks. Will Havel be able to rise up and save the day? Because it's a Dark Souls story. That's a genuine question. Can he actually save the day? Is there anything left to be saved? That is an actual question. Because Dark Souls. And while we never finished the
Dark
story,
Souls is kind of the exception.
yeah, that is sort of my point, though, right? There's always going to be exceptions, but like I said, 99% of the time, you shouldn't be having questions in your summary. I mean, really, we shouldn't have put questions in our summary either way, but the only reason why we got away with it is because we were writing a fan fiction and not an original fiction, and everyone going into the fan fiction knew it was Dark Souls, and therefore knew that our questions were actual questions. And considering the fact that we were going to end the story with Valkyrie nuking herself and Havel possibly dying to relight the bonfire, and then everything ending that way. The genuine question of would he succeed or not? Because we also had a alternate timeline theory we could have implemented in where Havel becomes such a sad boy because, well, Dark Souls. And a lot of the enemies in Dark Souls 1 are people that Havel would have known in real life before they went crazy and hollowed. So he would have to go around killing all of his friends and people he knew, only to, in the end, be faced with killing the one person that he rose up to fight under, which is Gwyn. And then he fails to do that because he can't lift his weapon against Gwyn in the end, after everything.
Yeah, that would do it.
And then Gwyn kills him, and the cycle continues. So yeah, there was 2 ways we were going to end that story. Where did you fucking copy paste that shit from?
What? Who, me?
Yeah, you. Rules of fanfiction failure.
Ozalos's profile. Hang
Who?
on.
Huh?
Hang on.
Hey, so sign copy paste is some big fucking thing. If your summary fails, it really does. This is the hook, your foot in the door. Avoid asking your readers questions and avoid references to other parts of said fic. What if Ranma fell into World of Mario and saved the princess? I don't know, he'll like explode into gooey chunks and shower the Mushroom Kingdom in crimson rain or something, drowning turtles and plumbers in a sea of martial arts carnage. Seriously, don't give your readers a chance to answer that question themselves. This is also very true, because if the reader answers the question you pose in their mind before they read the story, and then when they read the story and it's nothing like what they, in their mind, thought the story would be, they'll get angry and leave.
Disappointment.
And, you know, they'll fucking probably even write a rage review of like, oh, this is dog shit story, you didn't do all the cool things that I thought you were gonna do, you're lame, kill yourself. Because you asked them, you posed the question to them to make them start thinking about, oh, how would Ranma do this? And then when you told the reader how you think Ranma would do it, the reader goes, but that's not how I think they should do it. You're wrong.
It's a breakfast test.
Seriously, don't give your readers that chance. Next time you read a summary that's formed as a question, please remember the above apply. Secondly, such summaries impart no useful information. Absolutely true. Will he be a hero and save the day? What's your story about? A guy might be a hero in it. What happens in it? He might be a hero. Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't tell me shit.
Secondly, such summaries, blah, blah, blah. Likewise, continuing from part 5 review, please. Yeah. Hey, genius, I didn't read part 1. What's that about? Convince me I should read part 5. Convince me I should read parts 1 through 4. Be creative. Give them bites. Most entertaining is, I'm bad at summaries. The amount of fail
yes.
in that statement could light up Crystal Tokyo for a couple 100 years. Yeah. Oh, yeah, Zealous, yeah. Yeah, and no, it's absolutely true. It's, the reason why a lot of authors die off when they try and split their story into multiple stories instead of grow bigger, because you would normally think, oh wow, they completed book 1. That means they have a better chance of completing book 2. And if they complete up to books 4, you're like, oh boy, well they're surely going to complete books 5, 6, 7, and how many other more they did, because they already completed 4 books. So typically, when you have a longer running series, typically you would assume that more people would read it. But actually,
it's too long.
No, it's not just that it's too long. It's actually the opposite. It's these authors do a terrible fucking job of selling you on book 3. And it's better to just add on to the end. Exactly. Up until a certain point. Like, if you have 1 million words, I know there's a lot of stories out there that have like 1 million fucking words, and I'm looking at that, and I'm like, yeah, maybe later.
That's a lot of work to read that.
Yeah, it's like, it's 1 million words. Is it gonna be worth reading it?
Just because it's long, don't make it worth reading.
Exactly. You know, am I gonna get to like chapter 65 and then finally hate the story? That would suck. And obviously, you know, I'm spending the same amount of time Whether that's reading the story from chapters 1 to 65, or reading the story from chapters 1 to 10, and then reading the next 55 chapters as they come out over the course of however many years. Yeah, obviously it's the same amount of time being spent doing that. However, it's not to the human brain. Sometimes it is better to split the story up. But like I said, the problem is that a lot of these fanfic authors fail at getting new people interested in the sequel.
Yeah.
They make these summaries that are not aimed at new readers. They make these summaries that are it's like a story in the Pokemon section, right? It's like book 5 of like Ash's trilogy of like Ash's trilogy. Yeah, that sounds about right for a Pokemon fanfic.
That sounds right.
Yeah. Book 5 in Ash's trilogy. And the summary is like, Black and Green are about to kill the Hyperborean nation, and how will Charizard handle the death of Gardevoir? And, Ash is nowhere to be found, and everything is collapsing around them. Now, the person that just went into the Pokemon section to read a Pokemon fanfic, likely about Ash Ketchum, is gonna read this summary and be like, huh? I don't get it. What's happening? Oh, this looks stupid. Oh, I gotta read 4 books for this? Oh, this is lame. I'm not gonna read this.
Okay, the problem with that is that if you don't tell people, hey, look, this is a continuation from book, 2, 3, 4, however the fuck many, then
well, no, it's not even that. I've had this exact thought, and I've talked to other people about this, and they've had these same exact thoughts as well, of, putting book 5 in the title, or somewhere in the summary, is fine, but that doesn't make you excuse whatever the summary is.
well, all right, if you're going to do that, and then the summary should be about what is in this book, not what's in all the books that came before.
Absolutely.
I'm not going to summarize all the previous books.
No,
Just so some midwit can look at it and go, oh, I need to read the other book.
No. You need to sell them on book 5, whether they are a returning reader or they are a new reader. If the new reader comes back and is able to look at the summary of book 5 and be like, Ash's epic quest continues. Now with more companions and the stakes are higher than ever, will Ash finally be able to put the mummy's empire to rest? ? And I know I just said
Question mark?
I know I just said don't use question marks, but I mean, it's a shonen story.
Yeah, that's fair. But no, all right, something like that to me just reads like generic bullshit. Hey, pay attention to my story. Doesn't it sound exciting? Please read it.
Right,
I'm
but
sure it might attract somebody kind of.
it will attract a large amount of people, actually.
Really?
Yeah, oh yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. But that's the problem, though, right? Like, I'm not saying that sort of summary is the problem. I'm saying the problem is that the authors, they don't... someone is going to be way less likely to read a story that mentions a whole bunch of characters that are OCs, with empires and AUs that are OCs, and powers that are OCs, and all this original content and original scenarios that have nothing to do with the Pokemon they know. They're not going to read that. They're not going to sit there and be like, "Oh man, I bet this is going to be an awesome story once I get 5 books in."
Yeah, no, obviously not. They're gonna be like, "What the fuck is going on here?"
They're gonna look at this and be like, "This is book 5. Oh, this looks lame. This is stupid. I don't understand what's going on." even though you not understanding what's going on is expected, being that it's part 5. But that doesn't matter to the average person. It's a lot like how a lot of people like play the alphas and betas of games, and they're like, oh, this game has this bug in it. I don't want to play this game anymore. This game is now stupid and a waste of time because this pre-release copy has a bug in it.
Yeah, I've had that experience before myself. Sometimes a bug just frustrates you enough that you go, fuck it, I'm done with this permanently. Even if you know it's in alpha.
Yeah.
It's dumb, but it some things happen like that.
Yeah, no, and it's the exact same way with books, where if the person gets dumped, if they get the ice bath dumped on them when it comes to the part 5 of a series, they're not gonna stop and think and be like, oh, well, maybe this will make a lot of sense and be really awesome if I read the first 4 books. They're just gonna read that and be like, oh, this is lame and stupid and I don't understand it.
The problem is you've effectively got 2 audiences at this point. The audience that has followed you from book 1 and up to book 5 and is waiting on book 5 right now, and the new audience who has not ever seen book 1. And if you try to sell to that second audience, the newcomers, the other ones are going to be like, wait, what the fuck's going on here? So
Right, which is why I say it's really hard. Now,
yes, it's
nothing in life is going to be easy when it comes to this sort of thing, and yes, abandoning the core audience for the hypothetical larger new audience is always stupid. But your series is going to have burnout in it. There will simply be people who will stop reading over time and not pick up the next book. Just because. Not because they dislike the story now, not because they have less time to read it now. They just either they forgot about it, or they kept saying they'll do it, but they had other things to do, or they don't feel in the mood for it anymore. Yeah, they had an event that happened in their life that makes them not as interested in this, style anymore. A bunch of different shit, right? You're gonna have the burnout, and so you do need fresh injections of new blood. So you can't abandon the new audience for your core audience pandering, but you also can't abandon the core audience for your new audience pandering. It's just how it is. Unfortunately, you're going to be fighting an uphill battle with every single sequel you release to a series. But I'll cover that more in a second. I'm going to have to go to the bathroom real quick, so I'll be right back.
Sneaky's comment regarding like burnout shit just reminds me of how like Ruby went, where it's like, it was popular for a long while, but it's like as the series went on,
it's just kind of become no longer popular. Yeah.
Well, and it's just like people either grew tired of the bad writing, they stopped defending it. Like there are certainly still people who are still passionate about the damn show, and that's fine for them. But it's just like you can kind of tell that over time the fandom basically just died off.
Well, no, the fandom didn't die off. The fandom is still there. It's the people who are actively watching the show have died off. Most of the fandom is all, okay, you know what? I'm just going to take everything from volume 1 through 3 and consider that canon, or even just 1 and 2. Everything else, fuck it. It can go the way of the dodo for all I care. Especially with the later volumes.
I guess I always just felt like it just the entirety of Ruby just kind of just gave out and died off. Like even fan fiction feels like no one's really bothering with it outside like the diehards.
I was about to say it's still the most popular section on FFN.
I mean, it's not hard when it has such volume, but is it really getting that many fics being posted?
I'm not entirely certain.
It's kind of why I was like, it's like, it has a lot of fanfics, but it's like, I feel like I don't really see, like, when I troll through, like, the various crossovers and stuff, I don't feel like I see Ruby as constantly as I used to. Like, it's still a few there. Mostly it's just older fics still updating, but nothing really new.
Well,
I
this
had to
comes
say.
back to Sneaky's constant complaint about how fanfiction and the art of writing in general is dying because, millennials and Zoomers write less and less.
You ain't
And Gen
wrong.
Alpha just doesn't write. Or if they do write, it's dog shit.
Which is kind of a given, but yeah. It's honestly sad.
They've been infected by TikTok, Twitch, and other shit, so all they can write about is the things they know, and that means writing about TikTok, Twitch, VTubers, and so on and so forth. And it also affects the way they write, their style of writing. So those little 15-second, 30-second clips, well, they're not going for big 100,000 word or more books. They're going for little bitty one shots, small things they can get off quickly and get interaction faster.
Yep.
Yeah, Phoenix. He called it. I used to really like the first few books of the series, but I don't now because I'm not 13 anymore. Yeah, that sounds right.
What book series?
Any series you start as a young adult.
Ah.
At least that was my interpretation. Ask Phoenix.
Let me pause my game. Oh, it's the Vegas thing, yeah. Honestly, I didn't read that many books when I was younger. I kind of just very simple books. Like, what was it? Animal Arc series was kind of the closest to any proper books I read. They were the closest that got my attention, at least. Because back then I was more obsessed with, like, animals and stuff.
Yeah, that's fair.
Read more educational science books than anything.
No,
Weren't
I got
that
started pretty early. I want to say one of my first was I can't remember if it was Where the Red Fern Grows or The Yearling. One or the other. I think it might have been The Yearling. But yeah, after that it was okay, we're gonna pick up the big books now and go to Tom Sawyer, Huck Finn, and then suddenly it's I
Oh.
like Tom Clancy and John Grissom and so on. Were you Owen knows?
So hey, did you know that when you try to do something with Windows and it occasionally decides to just reset your fucking settings? It
Oh,
decided to
Yeah.
have it so my controller was apparently constantly on, even though I don't have anything plugged into it.
that's weird.
Yeah.
No, that sounds like Windows.
Thank you, Windows. Very cool.
It's plugged in. You must want to use it 24/7.
I don't even have it plugged in. I don't have a controller plugged in.
You plugged it in at one point, so you must still want to use it.
Dude, I haven't even played.
He's being
I know.
sarcastic.
I
man.
know he's being sarcastic. I'm
You
just.
sure?
I hate Windows.
Everyone hates Windows. Well, okay,
Even
most
Windows
people hate
hates Windows.
Windows hates Windows. Windows users hate Windows, but they don't want to move to something else because the other things all kind of fucking suck in some way.
Wow. No, it depends on what you're doing.
All right, let me rephrase that. Linux takes time to set up, and most people do not want to take that time.
Linux takes like 20 minutes to install and set up. It takes less time than it takes to install Windows. No, the problem with Linux is that you can't play games on it, and a lot of the software that's out there, like for businesses and stuff like that, either doesn't work on Linux or they don't know it works on Linux, so they're not willing to take that risk.
Hmm. It's also harder to fix in some ways, and easier.
Yes, easier and harder. All you got to do is
It's
clone
like
that motherfucker.
Just learn how to program, bro, and you can run Linux.
Not even that.
Yeah, I know. There's more shit.
Like, it's so fucking easy these days. I only have to break out terminal if I want something fairly obscure, or if something breaks, which is rare, exceedingly rare, and usually only because I'm the one that fucking broke it. Then it's like, oh, okay. A reboot fixes most things.
Most things.
Like, I've had issues with sound before, where it's like, plug in a headset or turn on a Bluetooth headset, then turn it off after a stream, and suddenly sound doesn't work, and it's like, what the fuck's going on here? And get to digging and digging and digging into it. Finally, it's just like, you know what? Fuck it. Restart. Restart it. Oh, hey, look, sound works again. Just weird little shit sometimes, rarely.
Goddamn.
You good, dude?
I was sick recently, and I took some fucking Sudafed and shit. And my body decided to dump a literal shitload of mucus down into my digestive system.
Did you just shit out all your
Oof.
mucus?
Yes,
Most unfortunate.
it was the world's largest sneeze.
Bro just lost 10 pounds.
I did. I used to really like the first few books of this series, but now I don't because I'm not 13 anymore. True. Yeah, no, Hunger Games was alright. Kind of stupid. It was alright, I guess. Doesn't deserve the hype it got.
Wasn't that hype mostly because of the movie?
And women. Because the male actor was hot
yes,
in it.
of course.
The author accidentally struck gold. Yeah. True. I had a roommate in college who liked to brag, because this was during the era of Hunger Games. He liked to brag that his neighbor was the Hunger Games author. And he got really mad when I told him that Hunger Games was mid at best.
For a second there, I thought you were going to be talking about like those Hunger Game things that every college did, and he was going to brag about being like first in those things.
No.
Hunger Game things? What?
Now, Pete, there used to be events
Colleges
that people,
tried to mimic the Hunger Game hype.
Bullshit for
they
pledges.
mimicked Hunger Games, they mimicked zombies, they mimicked like capture the flag with Nerf guns, which is actually pretty fun when I did it.
Yeah, it's hazing for pledges.
Man, wait, Nose, were you there when they did Rocket Dodgeball?
No, I did do the zombies.
Yeah.
With at Champlain,
Oh,
I got
yeah,
to handle that fucking Nerf minigun.
That
was
was
so much
that might have
fun.
been my fucking freshman year.
Dude.
They did that. Yeah.
Yeah, that was honestly the most fun shit, especially at the end where I was just like holding people off. It's so much fun.
One night at my college during freshman year, we were going to the cafeteria to get some dinner. My whole dorm was moving together as one giant lump because we had forged our friendship in the fires of the toilet, the search for the plunger.
Mm-hmm.
which is another funny story. But we saw that because they did this really interesting thing. So because of Vermont's zoning laws, they couldn't tear down certain sections, and they had to present a certain face to the roads to maintain the historical qualities of the area. So because they couldn't build up or out, they decided to build down, and they built a 3-story full-sized gym as a basement, and they had like a watching zone, like basically bleachers were on the second floor behind a glass window inside air conditioning.
Mhm.
And then on the third floor of the gym, that was your entrance to the building, and so you could see everything that was going on in the gym. And then one night we were walking by, and they were setting up this like giant fucking obstacle course thing, and we're like, oh, that's weird. Well, let's go see what that is. And we went down, and it was like, yeah, so here's your air gun, here's your flag. This is
Hold
gonna
the
be
fucking line.
this is gonna be football, dodgeball, except you all have air guns. It was so fun.
It was fun times on campus.
It was
A
fun.
lot.
It was so good. That shit was great. Honestly, they should have done more with the whole underground thing they had going on. That would have been
What
real... Huh?
What underground thing? Sorry.
They had a whole fucking gym underground. There was like only...
At Champlain?
Yeah. Bro?
Gamer, I'm gonna be real. I don't remember any of that shit.
Jesus Christ. So anyway, they had a gym.
He was just talking about it, and you were agreeing to it, and you don't remember it.
Yeah, of course not. It was fucking dipshit. They had a whole ass gym underground, and I really thought it would have been really neat if they had more if they just built more classes underground. That would have been so fucking cool.
It would have.
Just like the entire college is actually this like network of tunnels and classrooms. That would be so
Fallout,
fucking
what?
cool. Yeah, it would be so fucking cool. But nope.
It was not to be.
It was not to be. But why I'm bringing up all this fucking, book 3 shit is because right here is a great example. This author here has written 112 stories. Their profile page is fucking Has-Been Hotel.
I thought we agreed not to talk about that.
And as far as I'm aware here, King of Spades, Jesus Christ. God. Yeah, Ash Time Scary. Wow, they're doing a lot of gay fic. Even the Pokemon are gay. Rated K+. Man,
Excuse you?
Yep, and gay relationships rated K+. I'm so tired.
Well, it's also tiring.
It is also tiring. Okay,
Many such cases.
So they did break up Gladion gay fic. Okay, all 112 of their stories is gay. They're putting chemicals in the water that are turning the polytoads gay. But point being though is
What?
gay.
The fuck?
I was thinking.
No,
of
I
Alex-
know. It's just fucking so stupid.
So they have 3 books here. Book 1, 800 favorites. Book 2, 350 favorites. Book 3, 150 favorites. Each of these books end up being around 100 chapters long, with about 200k words. Not bad. Book 1 was updated over the course of 2 years, which means about a chapter a week of 2k words. Not bad. Not great, but not bad. Same thing. Actually, even better. 2 chapters a week of 2k words. And in the latest story, we're at 4 chapters a week of 2k words for book 3. Now, massive fall off. Massive. Literal 50% of your audience lost. Why was 50% of his audience lost? Book 1 summary. Going forward and beyond. A Pokemon fanfic of Ash getting serious after the Battle Frontier and training before going to Sinnoh. There will be Tauros trade and Aura training. A smarter Pokemon Ranger, Aura Guardian, Ash Ketchum. Ash will have gay sex. If you don't like it, don't read it. Rated T. Book 2. Ash Ketchum has finally won the Pokemon League. However, that's not all he managed to do. He also became an Ace Captain Ranger, an Aura Knight, and the champion of the Orange League. And now he is going to Unova with Max and Riley, and they're facing off against Team Plasma. So, while fairly good overall in terms of summary and telling us what's going on in the story, what probably really lost a massive number of people besides the gay shit is probably he won the league, he's becoming an Ace Captain Ranger Omega star, an Aura Knight, and the champion of the Orange League. So you're coming out the gates introducing your story to someone by saying, yeah, my Ash is super OP, he's already the guild master of every guild in the game, at level 1. So it's just you're already losing people due to your politics. Now you're losing more people because your story isn't even like a power fantasy because you already started the story with the power. It's like, what if I started watching, what if One Punch Man started One Punch Man with One Punch Man already being the #1 hero and everyone loves him? And he's got a bunch of friends and all the problems resolved. Yeah, it would be boring as shit. That's why no one's showing up. And again, 50% viewer loss when he gets to book 3. Now, as a champion of the Orange Islands, Ash maintains order while the league opens to trainers worldwide. What do you mean, now that the league opens to trainers worldwide? They were already open to trainers worldwide because Ash fucking did the league.
They let Ash in on an exception. It's okay. Don't worry about it.
Yet restlessness stirs in Ash as rumors circulate about Hawaii crafting its own Pokemon League, and Scotland also thinking about doing a Pokemon League. Known for his wanderlust, what path will the Aura Ranger choose in light of this information? What do you mean? What path? What the... He's already the champion. He's already the Ace Giga Captain Ranger. He's already an Aura Knight. He's already an Aura Ranger. He's like all these fucking titles. He's like the fucking North Korean guy with the 97 medals pinned to his chest already.
I did forget that he has the fucking Aura Knight powers or some shit.
The fuck's an Aura Knight?
So he just has...
I'm just assuming Aura Guardian, but fancy.
Yeah, it's
he
Aura
can
Guardian,
use,
but fancier.
Like, yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I'll be honest, like, the whole thing of him being, like, a champion or Knight, like, him having all the power, it's boring, but I think it can still be at least somewhat serviceable as an idea or pilot, or at least follow up. So there was something there. At least I want to give like the benefit of the doubt potential wise. This though, not really. No.
Yeah, sure. And like I said, this is actually a great example because these summaries aren't terrible. Right? Like, these summaries are actually telling us relevant information about what the story's general direction is going to be.
Problem is, it's too relevant.
No, well, not
It
only
gives
that,
us a whole bunch of bullshit.
Yeah,
on
that's
him
the
being OP.
the problem is the information it gives us is Ash is stupidly fucking OP. He's already overcome all of his challenges. He's just going to these regions to ruffle stomp now. And also, he's gay as fuck, boy. He's so gay, even his Pokemon is gay.
He's doing a victory lap at this point.
Yeah, it's just like I was just like listening. And it's like, what's the point of even doing any of this? Like, why would he go challenge another
And
league?
then-
He's a champion.
And then, so say you got...
Well, I mean, Ash would do that.
Well, he's a champion though. He's not. He's no longer seeking. The
Yeah,
whole
but that's like
adventure route.
that's like if Trump wins the upcoming presidential election and then also runs for presidency in France.
Yeah, basically, it's like you're a champion. You're not going to compete in
It's like
another league.
you are basically the face of the league for that region now. You don't get to go run about in other leagues.
You can have a friendly spar with them, but you're not challenging that league in an official capacity.
Yeah.
Not unless you're abdicating your position, which I don't think that's really something that can be done just so haphazardly.
Yeah, and it's also always like a situation of, yeah, you could sort of spin it as like, oh yeah, you know, these hyper elite telethanthia. Okay, so the champions really shouldn't be showing up everywhere, but at the same time, if Trump just shows up at your house, are you really gonna be like, I'm sorry, sir, this is private property?
No.
Yeah, like I'm not gonna
Trump and his 45 security guards with guns show up at your house, and you're like, I'm gonna have to ask you to leave.
like
Sir,
Cynthia
this is
going
private property, no trespassing.
Cynthia going places. I feel like it's just like she's there just to see the site, not really do anything.
I mean, it's
Whereas,
also
like-
usually pursuing her ambition of archaeology, so she's not like going there to challenge the local trainer scene. She's going there because, you know, some fancy new rune showed up, and turns out that there was like some ancient language tablet found there, and she wants to look at it. Stephen Stone was similar in that aspect of like, yeah, he kind of just fucked off and did whatever he wanted, and everyone kind of just had to let him do that.
Like
So I
Yeah,
thought
like,
it was
he was a-
semi-canonical that Ash won his league and then went to another league and went, okay, I'll start over from zero, collect all new
No,
Pokemon,
so he would
and do
fail.
everything in this league.
So it's demi-canonical, as I call it, because what it is that he actually only ever won the Orange League, the Battle Frontier, which is insane, by the way. The Battle Frontier is like elite tier trainers go to the Battle Frontier because they weren't able to make the Elite Four, and so they went and trained against other elite trainers who weren't able to make their own Elite Fours in their regions. And Ash won that.
The only official league he won was what I call a bootleg league.
Which is Orange. Yeah.
No, not even Orange. It was Alola, the Hawaii.
Oh, well, yeah, okay, yes, they finally did it. But, the Orange League was Season 2. It was the second league Ash ever went to. He won it.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
He lost Johto, but he scored 16th in Kanto, 8th in Johto, 6th in Hoenn, 4th in Sinnoh. And then I don't know what he ended up in Black and White. And then it was Aloha after that where he finally won, I think.
Yeah. I think part of, like, I've said this before on, like, kind of criticizing just that whole win, is that I think they knew the fandom was getting sick and tired of him constantly, like, getting cock-blocked, as it were, in the wins.
I mean, it's 50-50, right? So basically, basically the series didn't grow up with us, which is a big thing, right? Which is why they kind of made Ash restart every season.
Yeah.
Because the series wasn't growing up with us. The series was meant to pull in new people. Like, almost nothing in the series
Oh, I'm
itself
aware.
was about the core audience.
Yeah, like,
Yeah,
I
that
acknowledge
was Sinnoh, I believe. He got cooked by Darkrai, yeah.
Yeah, Darkrai and Latios.
And Latios.
No, just Latios. There was no Latios, as far as I recall.
There's 3 legendaries.
There w-
Yeah,
I don't
I'm
remember
pretty
there
sure he
being
had
a
3.
Latios. I know Darkrai and I know Latios. I don't think he had Latios.
What do you mean cucked by Darkrai?
So this
Right,
random
so-
trainer had a Darkrai, a Latios, and a Latios.
Right. So basically, to set this up, right? So Ash in Sinnoh gets into 4th, and he's entering his semifinals fight, right? Quarterfinals fight, right? And he has been, like, they've been showing him, like, not dumpstering people, but, like, you know, proudly beating his way to victory. He is doing it. He has learned his lessons. His Pokemon are strong. He is on the road to victory. And then out of fucking nowhere, they make his quarterfinals opponent be some fucking random that has not showed up in the series at all until this very moment. And dude just has 3 legendaries. Or
Like
two legendaries.
Yeah.
Dude just casually
That
has
sounds
2
like bullshit.
legendaries. And it's just like, yeah, literally everyone and their mother was like, what the fuck is this bullshit?
Yeah, it's like that was kind of just where, like, I think like, I know the series didn't grow up with him, but still the series still had a fandom that was growing
Oh,
up.
you had the old audience watching.
And it pissed them off.
And it pissed them off, and the new audience was watching, and it pissed them off, because, again, it was a massive fucking rug pull. It wasn't like, it was a slug-out match, and then Charizard finally fainted before he could beat his opponent's Pokemon, and, Ash was like, yeah, I lost, but we tried in the end. And it was like, okay, yeah, fine, we lost, and it's GG. And that's one thing, right? And that's why we weren't angry when he lost in Kanto, or Johto, or Hoenn. But dude just pulls out the most fucking bullshit Pokemon in the series and is like, yeah, go, God! Send him to hell! It's like... What?
Bruh.
Bruh?
This wasn't like the player character from the game, right?
No. Doesn't look like them. Player character looks either like either Dawn, May, or whoever's
the player character typically is the older well, okay. Post Johto, the player character, they started making the games incorporated into the anime a little bit more, where in the Hoenn anime, not Dawn, May and
Max.
No, the male character. Brendan. May and Brendan were the characters you could play as in the games. But in the series, May was a companion and Brendan was like a sort of pseudo-rival to Ash.
I don't think Brendan ever appeared in Ruby canon. Like, Dawn's counterpart, Lucas, never showed up. He never showed up in mainline. Like, I know he appeared in side content. Like, there's been clips of, like, I think in the kind of just spin-off little clips.
Right, that's why I'm calling him like a pseudo-rival, because he was like, he never showed up as a rival, and was kind of just like, oh yeah, Brendan's, also, here doing stuff.
Yeah, I just don't remember any of the other gender rivals ever showing up. Like in black and white, I don't
Um,
think we ever saw
I mean,
either
I don't
Hilda
know.
or
Yeah,
whatever.
I have no idea.
It's been a while, but we've never seen any of the male rivals. We've only seen just the female characters as companions. Maybe once or
And
twice,
then
but they were very rare.
Sinnoh was Sparky and Dawn. I'm pretty sure we see
Lucas.
Lucas. Yeah, I'm pretty sure we see Lucas in the anime.
Let me actually check. I'm on Bulbapedia.
But yeah, the point being is that the him losing in the Sinnoh League was just total absolute fucking bullshit. Oh, they even call it the semifinal. So actually, yeah, maybe he was gonna get there. Yeah, okay. Yeah, total fucking bullshit. Just absolute horseshit. Total horseshit. Did we ever get a rival as good as Gary? No.
Apparently, yeah. As far as the mainline series, Lucas, for example, never really appeared in the mainline. He only appeared in the movie.
Okay. That's
He
probably
appeared
what I'm
in
remembering.
Evolutions,
Yeah.
which is the side content, but yeah, no.
That
Rivals
explains it.
never really appeared.
Yeah.
Only the females.
Yeah, no, I think the problem is the reason why Gary was such a great rival was because
He was an asshole.
well, yes, but he also showed up in the game, so he was also your rival. So you had that sort of like sympathetic link going on. Or he's Ash's rival. Ash is supposed to be the stand-in for you, and in the games you're playing, and Gary's your rival as well, and so it's like that's got that sympathetic linking going on.
Mm.
So there is that as well, but then on top of all of that, Gary shows actual character arc change in the series. And the original
Are you
Pokemon-
thinking of the manga, or are you thinking of the animation? I don't remember him having any character arc in the animation.
Gary actually got a whole different character. Like,
Bro, what the fuck are you talking about? Literally at the end of Kanto.
JoJo.
No, well, at the I guess technically at the end of Johto, but at the end of Kanto, Gary was massively changed from who he was at the start of the series, and then by the time Johto rolls around, Gary's literally out there in the stands cheering Ash on.
Yeah, like they kind of patched things up by like at least by Johto, effectively. Like they were having a fairly friendly rival when they fought their battle. Like shit was pretty good with them, and Gary still grew up to be a better person later on when he did show up.
And then he would make occasional appearances in later animes, but point being though is that like Gary had an actual character arc.
Paul kinda did, but I wouldn't say it was ever good as Gary's.
Yeah, but
Paul
the thing
was the
is,
rival
but Paul didn't show up in the games. Like that's the problem, right?
yeah, true.
Like there's no sympathetic linking to any of the rivals that show up later on in the series for the anime because they don't show up in the games. And then on top of them not showing up in the games, you also have this major issue when it comes to the series in where the original Pokemon series was not really made for the American audiences or children. The anime itself in Japan was made for, I think it was 8 to 16-year-olds, something like that. So it had a lot more maturity to it in the original seasons. And then when they made it to America and it was a massive fucking hit in America, they started to really childize it. Like by the time of Alola rolling around, massive degradation in the themes, massive degradation in the seriousness, massive degradation in the complex thought display going on in the characters. I mean, like fucking hell, Team Rocket, massive character arc turnaround over the course of the seasons.
Black and White was probably the one season they actually did have like they were actually shown to be fairly competent as just Team Rocket agents beyond the whole, they're competent in their disguises and whatnot, or whatever they try to do. That shit, like they were
wasn't Black and White like one of the series where they had basically they showed off what Team Rocket, what Jesse and James were like, without Ash constantly interfering in their stuff.
Effectively, yeah. Like they were quite literally working directly with Giovanni as semi-competent agents of Team Rocket.
Yeah,
Like that was like there was a whole dynamic of them going full agents against Team what was it? Plasma?
yeah.
Yeah, like there was a whole kind of thing with that, and it's like, okay, that was actually pretty neat.
So you're telling me they were just playing around with Ash?
Effectively. Bro, have you seen the shit they do?
Yeah.
No, I never watched it.
I mean, if you okay, so like, the really interesting thing is that if you abstract what is displayed in the series, and I really do appreciate the fan fictions that play into this, because it is kind of funny. But if you actually abstract, because then again, Black and White showed off what they could be like if Ash wasn't interfering in the shit they were doing, and they were clowning on people, from what I remember in Black and White. That basically, like, they were constantly shown and depicted as these, like, they were poor, they couldn't afford to do this, that, or this thing, but they always somehow managed with whatever they were doing. They were always shown in the series whenever Ash showed up to do something, like, and Team Rocket wasn't showing up as the main villains that episode. Like, Team Rocket would just be, like, running, like, a Pokemon daycare, and they would have, like, literal 5 out of 5 stars for the Pokemon daycare because they took care of the Pokemon so well, and they were just charging out the ass on people for to do this.
They were. It's like they're extremely competent when they're doing things. It's just that they kind of like turn into clowns when they were trying to catch Pikachu and stuff.
And like they were showing up with like mechas and hot air balloons and like all of these like high quality air quotes
They fucked
gadgets.
about.
Stuff they put together themselves.
Yeah,
I might as well point out.
stuff that they not only stuff they also put together themselves, but they got the money to make in the first place through like these ridiculous ideas of like selling T-shirts in a parking lot for whatever trainer was currently battling at the gym. Like that was some of their plots and shit. Like it would just casually be like, "Oh yeah, they have disguises on because they're disguising the fact that they're wanted Team Rocket members, but." Yeah, they're just casually selling shirts. There's like no plot behind it. Oh, they're selling merchandise. Oh, what's that? Everyone really loves this Pokemon here. We're gonna sell a bunch of merchandise for this Pokemon.
And what's more even astounding is that those generally most of the stuff they were selling wasn't like cheap scam gear. No, it was actually decent quality stuff.
Yeah, it was like actual decent quality stuff for fair prices.
So it's like the show paints them as utter clowns, but it's like the clowns are extremely hyper competent when they set their mind out to do shit.
And
It's
always
just that who they've been going up against is.
well, I mean, and then when you really consider what they've been going up against, Pikachu squared off against Zapdos, the electrical god Pokemon.
Oh no.
Pikachu squared up a lot of shit and got
Pikachu
depowered
squared
a lot of shit.
off against the god of truth and ideals or some shit. Like one of the fucking dragons that's like electricity based, and Pikachu squared off.
Zekrom.
Yeah, Pikachu squared off against a literal dragon god in Black and White, and the dragon god was like got hit by Pikachu's lightning and was like, "All right, respect."
It's like, all right, bro.
It's like, I'm sorry, fucking what?
Okay.
And it's like then you go back and then you think about like, oh, Meowth going, what's this? Pikachu's overloading our electrical resistant gear. This shouldn't be possible. Now, which at the time was a gag, but then you're like, oh, actually, this electric mouse is so strong, he got a dab. So not dab. What do they go? A dop? A bob? He got a fist bump, effectively. He got an electrical fist bump from the god of electricity. From how strong this rat was with its electricity.
It also kind of explains why the series constantly had to keep nerfing him nearly every season.
Yeah.
Besides the fact that Ash is starting from ground zero, so Pikachu does too.
Right.
Because
And-
if he had his power, he'd basically be nuking everything.
Yeah, exactly, right. And so it's a wild thing, and it's like kind of like looking back on it, you're like, oh, okay, I'm starting to understand why Team Rocket could be competent if they weren't going up against Ash, because Ash's Pokemon are just fucking broken. They're just broken. It's like, oh, okay.
I think
Ash,
didn't you once,
Ash has
like,
the power of God and anime on his side.
Apparently,
I mean,
literally.
he actually
Yes.
might have actual God on his side. So.
Yeah, you know, he literally has God on his side. He is God's chosen one.
Dude,
Didn't you, I
what?
forget if it was a
Yeah.
fanfic you said or something else, but you kind of mentioned how it's like Team Rocket was actually going after Ash as like a psyops thing to keep him safe from Giovanni or something.
That was a fanfic.
No, it was a fanfic, yeah.
That was a
I thought they were
fanfic.
going against him to raise him up.
Yes. That's a fanfic. Yeah. It was by constructive writer, and effectively the story went along the lines of Ash was able to talk to Pokemon because he was raised by Pokemon, and Jesse and James realized how powerful Ash would be as a trainer in the future, but also how valuable he is right now. And
So he's Dr. Doolittle for Pokemon.
yeah, and decided that they were going to become his rivals / guardians, because if they were hunting his Pokemon, then no other Rocket agents would be assigned areas he was in, because they would be handling those areas. And this was to prevent the rest of Team Rocket, who were not as good as people as Jesse and James were, of ever finding out for as long as possible about Ash's truth. And I do appreciate the stories that portray Jesse and James in a good light, because they actually are like good people. Jesse was portrayed both Jesse and James are, as far as I remember, if I remember correctly, rich. Rich is beyond fucking hell rich. Like,
James was rich. I don't know about Jesse.
She was like,
there was like one.
Yeah, there was like one episode that kind of sort of hinted that Jesse's mom might have been like some sort of gold digger who was trying to raise her daughter to be one as well, and was trying to like force her daughter into following her path and shit like that, and Jesse like said fuck that shit and ran away. But James also ran away from his extremely cushy life. Like, we're talking
I
like
know, James had extensive coverage of his past and shit, along with like just a bunch of his Pokemon.
yeah, we're not talking like silver spoon here. We're talking James had a fucking platinum spoon fed to him by someone else.
It was kind of an interesting reveal. Like, yeah, he was rich as fuck, but he was also fairly miserable because he had a very horrid fiance he didn't want. Along with
he
other
had a
things.
horrible fiance. He had a very unloving set of parents, as far as I remember. Like, not unloving, detached.
Yeah, detached is probably the best way to describe him.
Japanese parent syndrome.
Sort of, yeah. But yeah, he had everything he ever wanted, but he didn't want to marry the person that he was going to be set to marry, and he didn't have parents who were really there for him. And so he kind of fucked off as well. And Meowth even had a sad backstory of literally trying to impress another Meowth female, and he was like, "Oh, I know, like, she's fascinated by the stuff humans make, so I'll learn to talk human and how to read human, and I'll show off how smart I am with human stuff."
Yep.
She
and
dumped him for Chad.
I think she even called him a freak.
Yeah.
Wow.
Like, all his work, and she not only did she dump him, she basically just called him a freak of nature for doing all that.
Yeah.
That was just cruel.
She dumped him for Chad, evolved into a Persian, and then got picked up by Giovanni.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Huh?
I did not know that.
Yeah, apparently that was a reveal at one point, is that Giovanni's Persian is the Persian that he was trying to go for. It's either that or she became the new, or the Chad that she left him for became Giovanni's Persian. One of the two became Giovanni's Persian, and the other one got left behind. In the city, in the big city, as the King Tomcat.
Yeah, looking at it, it does not seem like that's a completely different Persian.
Okay.
Yeah, Meowth just wants to replace as the beloved Persian of the boss. That's it. So.
Yeah, I thought I was trying to remember. Like, I remember hearing about some sort of fucking episode where Meowth goes back to his roots and like confronts the Persian he lost to or something. But yeah, it's just like these stories aren't interesting. The Pokemon itself got more babyish, and which is why a lot of people turn to fanfiction for a return to a more serious take on Pokemon. Because while even the first season wasn't super serious with its take on Pokemon, straight up just like they just killed Ash in the first movie.
Excuse me?
Yeah, Ash
Yeah,
died.
no, he died.
Ash just straight shit died in the first movie. Where
He got resurrected.
Yes, he did. Yep. But Mew and Mewtwo were having a giant fight, and they shot death beams at each other, and Ash ran in between them. It was like, everybody stop fighting! And then got annihilated.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But everyone kind of stopped at that after Ash fucking dies, and everyone's like, oh. Because, like, no one had, up until this point, no one had actually died. Despite Mewtwo, like, declaring he was going to do war on humanity, Mewtwo didn't actually try and kill anyone. Up until this point. And then his and Mew's attacks kill Ash, and he's like, oh, well, fuck, shit. Damn.
Oopsie.
And then all the Pokemon start crying because Ash really liked Pokemon, and he showed that, and so all the Pokemon was sad that he died.
Ash got fucking Yamcha.
And then Mew collected. Everyone kind of assumes it's Mew. Mew collected all of the Pokemon tears and imbued Ash with that energy from the Pokemon tears, and Ash got resurrected.
Oh, that is so fucking dumb.
Yeah.
I mean, it's fairly light for
Pokemon
Pokemon.
salt water.
I mean, it's a fucking child show, okay? But, like, it was real shit for, like, a solid couple minutes of Ash was just fucking dead. And everyone just started crying, and everyone was like, oh, shit. He just dead.
He did.
Okay, yeah, you were right about the one female Meowth joining that Tomcat Persian.
I know, I was right about that. Look,
Yeah,
man,
just going
I'm
through the
right
wiki.
about most of what I say, okay?
I'm just confirming for you because I was just scrolling through the wiki reading.
Yeah. And then in the second Pokemon movie, Pokemon 2000, which fucking amazing movie.
Is that the one with Celebi? Oh wait, no, that's Lugia, right?
Yeah, it was Lugia's. Celebi's was the Eternal Forest.
Yep. Just try. I can't remember the order. It's been a while.
And then Pokemon Forever is my favorite one, and that's the one with Latias in it. That was just funny.
Oh, that one was nice.
Yeah, it was cute. But honestly, in the movies, Team Rocket, Jesse and James specifically, really gets the shine because they usually have this like hyper competent either Team Rocket member or equally criminal, super criminal mastermind show up and like cause a massive fucking problem, and then Jesse and James team up with the Squirt Squad, as they call them, and help save the day. And in the second one, Ash has to go to the 3 elemental islands of
Oh,
Articuno,
yeah, that.
Moltres, and Zapdos, and he has to like put some fucking crystal or orb or some shit at the peak of each island so they can calm down the birds, so they can all work together to like free Lugia or some shit, so the world literally doesn't collapse because of some sort of hyper weather event occurring. That was gonna like wipe out all of Kanto and Johto. And so Ash at one point is like, oh shit, how am I gonna get there? And Team Rocket show up in a fucking boat and they're like, Ash, get in, we gotta go to these islands. And Ash is like, what are you doing? Why are you helping me? Aren't you guys the bad guys? And Jesse, I forget it was Jesse, James, or Meowth, just like completely straight face said, like, kid, there has to be a world left for us to take it.
Yes.
Like, we can't take over the world if there's no world left to take.
Makes sense.
Like they're not complete
True.
brainless idiots. Like, yeah, they're cartoonish villains, but they're not that stupid. They're not evil that to like, we're gonna screw you over because fuck you. No, it's like the world's at stake. We're gonna put the villainy aside and help you.
I think also one line that James actually said during the non-movies, because the movies kind of aren't considered canon. They're considered demi-canon again. But one line I think it was James said during the anime itself was that a fool and their Pokemon are easily parted. And basically what he's implying is, and if you look back on it, a lot of their scams revolved around exploiting stupid people. So, like, they weren't going around and, like, beating up literal children and, like, taking their Pokemon and shoving them in a sack.
I was going to say, Ash is basically just in the way, basically.
Yeah, I mean, usually he's in the way. But besides the instance where they ended up fighting Ash in the Pokemon Center for the Pokemon that were, being stored there, which, again, is actually a Mega Mind move. Because while it technically has a bunch of victims to the crime, no one would technically be hurt during their actions. It was just an unfortunate series of events that caused the events to occur in the first episode, in the first meeting. But Jesse and James specifically go out of their way to effectively have crimes and where the only person that's losing is people that are stupid. And the only way they lose is because they were stupid, not because they were like.
They also have to fill the half hour, don't you know?
Well, yeah, sure, but you could have just had Jesse and James show up and like beat up a bunch of people, and then Ash has to rush in and save the day. But the plots Jesse and James come up with are like, we're gonna pose as a Pokemon grooming clinic, and then we're gonna groom the first like 300 Pokemon really well, and then everyone will like us and trust us, and they'll just leave their Pokemon with us, just because they trust us. Instead of staying with the Pokemon as we take care of them, and then we just ship hundreds of Pokemon out in a giant smuggling attempt, which Ash stops. But point being is that like people would just like give them their Pokemon, oftentimes because of whatever scam they were running. Of like, oh, we're running a Pokeball shining service where we shine your Pokeball to make it extra smooth. Give us your Pokeballs. And a bunch of people would go up and be like, here's our Pokeballs.
I can imagine after like the 30th time Ash sees this shit, like he gets older, he just sees Jesse, just like, what are you doing?
Yeah, it's just fucking hell, man. But point being is that a lot of their crimes actively aren't malicious towards other people. It's obvious. Well, not malicious. Is hostile, malevolent.
Harmful.
Yeah, there we go. Malevolent, harmful. Yeah, it's they effectively go up to people and like, hey, you can trust me with your Pokemon. You should give me your Pokemon. And like the person's just like, yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, I trust you. You seem trustable.
They're just good scam artists.
Yeah.
And they target saps. The only time they actively don't do the scamming is when Ash is near like a fancy Pokemon or something. They go, oh, 2 birds, 1 stone.
Yeah, and then they try and capture a bunch of fucking Pokemon, or they're not even chasing at like a lot of so I'm not gonna say a lot of times, but like a significant number of times they've just been like, all right, so we're not gonna fuck with Ash for a while. We're just gonna go over to this like Pokemon reserve over here, and just like go in with a giant net and scoop up a bunch of Pokemon and fly away. And
Yep.
That's the
Ash
plan.
just happened to be there, and they're like, are you fucking kidding me?
Yep.
One day, yeah, Ash just straight up dead. He died more than once. Yeah, he died more
He
than
did?
once. Yeah.
He's died a fair number of times in the movies.
Let's see. He died in the first movie. He died
in Manaphy.
Manaphy. He died in the movie.
He died in the movie. I think he also died technically in fucking what was it? What fucking movie did he die in? He died in the Lucario movie. I know he did that.
Yeah,
He was absorbed or some shit.
No, he died. That was the movie.
That was the movie?
Yeah,
He
because
did
the
not-
Mew.
I thought you were talking about
died-
the first movie with Mew.
No.
Lucario and the Mystery of
Right.
Mew
Oh
movie.
my god, I forgot about that. Mew was in that movie for some reason.
Yeah.
I don't think he died, but I think it was just more like he was just a step away from being killed.
No, he crystallized.
Was he crystallized? I thought he was eaten by the tree.
He gave up his aura and crystallized, and then Lucario gave up its aura to free him.
No, did he really? Because
Yeah.
I remember at the end where they both are giving up their aura to the tree to kind of free it or heal it because it was sick or something, and Lucario just took the whole burden and died. But I don't remember Ash crystallizing.
I remember, like, in the movie, he was just like, hey, you need help with something. I can help with that. And Lucario's just like, what are you talking about? He's like, well, my aura is like Aaron's, right?
Yeah, that's kind of the end where they kind of just channel the aura into the tree, and then Lucario takes the full burden and just sacrifices himself.
Yeah, Lucario sacks himself. So he nearly died in the movie. I'm pretty sure, didn't he almost die in Pokemon Forever as well?
I'll be fucked if I remember, dude.
Lucario, no, he did not. That was the Latias one. He did not die whatsoever. He was actually relatively fine in that one.
Yeah, no, he was actually relatively fine.
I think I know the Crystal one was in the Pokemon Black and White movie. He basically froze to death.
Oh, that's the one. Yeah.
Manaphy, he drowned. The tree ate him in Mew. He turned into a statue in Mew too.
In the Celebi one, I think he nearly got retroactively erased from time.
No.
What?
He did not.
He didn't?
No.
I thought something was. Who was fading from time then?
It might be Tracy getting or Professor Oak getting sent back to his own time, but there was no one being erased from time in that. The only time involving was Celebi jumping through time with young Oak.
No. Ash jumped through time.
He did not in that movie.
No, yeah, he totally did.
Celebi movie took place in Ash's time.
Really? I thought Ash went back in time.
No, Professor Oak from the past got sent forward and then back at the end.
Okay.
There was no Ash did not leave his time.
I could have sworn there was one movie or episode or something where they had time paradox issues.
Arceus.
Right,
Ash
that's
got
what it
sent
was.
back in time to give Arceus back his gem thing.
Yeah.
And that retroactively destroyed the gem in the current time.
Yeah.
But he did not die in that.
Okay. That is also where he became God's chosen one. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
He did not get erased from time. He only died apparently like 6 times throughout the series.
Oh my!
Only a few
the
times.
First time he died, that was not, the first time he died.
Better.
The only time he died outside the movies was was from the Ghost episode. Apparently,
Oh,
Pikachu
yeah,
and
he
him
did,
left
yeah.
Arbok.
Oh yeah, no, he died.
Yeah, he
I
did die there in that,
completely-
yeah.
He didn't just like come back. Like he came back, but he straight up died.
Didn't he end up in Giratina's realm at one point?
He entered through the dimension through the portal, but he did not die and get there.
Okay.
He almost went to the spirit realm in, I think, Sinnoh, where the ghosts literally were trying to spirit them away, but they left. They managed to escape.
Right.
That was the closest to them getting to a spirit realm.
Yeah.
Giratina just opens portals to the dimension gap. That's it. Or
Anyway.
not dimension gap, whatever.
Point being is that this guy's got a lot of fucking stories, and all of them are A, gay, literally, but B, not interesting. Like there's nothing about this summary for book 3 that makes me want to read book 2 or book 1. There's nothing I see here that makes me go, oh, well, I wonder what happened in the previous book. Oh, that looks interesting. I wonder how we got here. Bro,
Through the magic of the druid.
bro, it's just
Don't
like
worry about it.
Red Ghoul, a Batman Justice League crossover. I mean, do you really need to specify that? Isn't Batman basically whatever?
Batman is part of the Justice League, but they may be specifically going, look, it's part of this
The greater
specific
AU? Yeah.
continuity.
Yeah, the Joker is dead, and Lady Gotham, blah blah blah. Shadow opened his eyes, blah blah blah. That's right. Jason is back. He's alive, or some shit.
So it's juicy.
I don't know. There's apparently no gay relationships in this one. Supposedly.
Supposedly.
Why is that a supposed? Fuck.
It's rated K+, but he's put gay relationships in other K+ stories.
Because everything else he did was gay.
Yeah, like of their 112 stories, 102 of them are gay, apparently, according to Killionaire.
Oof.
Yeah. It's just, I'm sorry, it's just... I mean, look, it's the same way, for my opinion, of the straight authors who are like, I'm gonna write 112 stories about Ash being paired with this one specific character. It's kind of weird, bro.
Well, if that one specific character is Hilda, we got a deal.
So, I don't know.
Or what's the one with the blue hair and the bird? You know, what's her name's mom?
Dawn?
Dawn's mom, yeah.
I
No,
think
not Dawn's mom.
You mean Lana?
The one from
Alola?
Lana's mom.
Alola.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, Alola, that one.
She was
We don't
sort-
actually know her name. She doesn't have a name.
I mean, the thing is, right, it's just, I just kind of find any story fandom that has a lot of sexually charged fan fictions to be a little bit weird when the fandom itself is for, like 12-year-olds.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, it's perfectly fair.
It's like going into Harry Potter, and it's like, I'm not really interested in all of these, like, the shipping wars, because it's like, Harry isn't at an age where he can even have sex until the last 2 books. I say can have sex, as in, I mean, legally can have sex, but also understand what sex
I was
is.
about to say, that's not going to stop most authors.
I'm aware.
He knows.
But I just find it really weird that some 35-something is fantasizing about the sex life of a 13-year-old. It's really weird to me.
Yeah.
It's perfectly understandable.
Especially when they have, like, 100-something stories about it. And then that's taken to, like, an extra level for me when it's a non-straight relationship. I find it to be massively cope, in my opinion. If there's 2 gay characters in a series, canonically gay characters in a series, and you want to write 100 stories about them having a relationship, I'm gonna view you on the same level as if they are 13 as well. Keep in mind, but if they're fucking 18, I won't even blink, right? But if they're 13, I'm going to view you on the same level as weird as the people that are writing about the straight sexual lives of 13-year-olds for anything else, right? But it's a really massive amount of cope, in my opinion, to turn characters who are canonically straight or canonically this, that, or the other thing into something else that just so happens to align with your personal sexual preferences. I just find it massively cope.
DGD is in fact a fetish.
Yeah, I know, but like, what I'm saying is like if you are Asian and you have a fetish for white people or black people or whatever, right? And you write every single Asian character, every single series that you write stories for, the Asian character always ends up with the black guy or the white guy or whatever, right?
Yeah.
It's a little cope. It's a little weird. It's a little cope.
You are kind of putting your fetish just right there into the story.
Yeah, that's kind of my point, right? It's one thing if it's like Ash in this story was traveling with his mom to visit his dad's grave, and he met teenager Cynthia, and she shared his enthusiasm for Pokemon and got him interested in the ruins, and so he wanted to go become an archaeologist Pokemon master who traveled the world to see really cool ruins and learn their stories and the Pokemon in them and shit. And then it was a Cynthia Ash pairing later on. I'd be like, okay. Yeah, I'd be like, oh, okay. Yeah, that's fine. But if it's just like randomly out of nowhere, Cynthia just shows up and starts face fucking Ash in every single one of your 100 stories, it's like, bro, like, look, I get it.
Look, we get it. You're hot for Cynthia, but you don't have to like
Can you
fucking just post it.
Yeah, it's like, bro, I get it.
Though.
Like,
I get it.
Look,
but
I get it.
Look, we get it. We get it. You got fucking
bro.
beat by her, and you now want to fucking sex her. But come on,
it's like
not in public.
It's
not
like
in public,
the fart
bro.
guy, right? You know, like the fart guy is the most egregious. Yeah, it's like yeah. I know, Phoenix. I didn't. That's why I was like, oh, I gotta swerve.
The loose.
The loathsome fart eater.
Yeah, but like it's like the fart guy is a really good way of talking about it, because if you talk about it with other fetishes, it's either, to most people, it's either not going to be extreme enough, or it's going to be too subtly popular, like foot fetish people, that you're going to get pushback on it. But if you use the fart guy to explain it, no one likes the fart guy. No one's going to support the fart guy, right?
Yeah, that's fair.
If you come out and shit on the fart guy who's written 4,000 stories about characters farting, no one's going to sit here and be like, oh, well, maybe you should just let him do what he does. It's like, no.
No, bro needs to stop.
Bro needs to fucking stop. Bro's got a problem. I can 100% imagine Greg Veeder fantasizing about getting it on with one of the girls in his class, but it's a bit weird to write it as a grown man. Yeah.
And yet that's one of the more popular self-inserts for Word.
No, it is. And I think if you can fit it into the story in a natural way of, hey, the teenager's having a sexual fantasy, it's like, all right, that's one thing. It's like you see the shark fin pop out of the water, but you're like, oh, maybe I'm just seeing things. But if the dude's got 20 stories, hundreds of chapters, and in every single chapter he's writing this like explicit sex scene with the justification that the teenager's imagining it with the character, bro, you gotta calm down. Like you're not doing a
That or
great job.
just own it.
Yeah, oh yeah, or be Cambrian and just fucking own it and say $20, please.
Yes, exactly.
yeah, like at that point, then I can be like, okay, I respect the game, I respect the hustle,
Gotta
very well.
respect the hustle.
Yeah, but if you're gonna sit here and try and be like, yeah, I'm not being horny, guys. It's just what kids do. They just think about the sex all the time. It's like, bro.
No, I'm horny all the time, and you can pay me to be horny for you for the characters you want.
Damn it, Sneaky.
Don't read those cursed words.
They would defend Fartmaster on AO3 and DeviantArt.
Of course.
Yes.
Those people have no shame, and they're all hug
Yes, yes. Okay, that is fair. Yes, the zones of the internet in where blatantly mentally unwell people gather to pat each other on the back and tell each other that it's totally not weird that their one true pairing is a bloat fly fucking the muffler, the muffler of a Jeep.
Excuse me.
Yes, I'm being this specific because this was a literal example that was given. Because I thought it was so ridiculous, there was no way they would support this. They supported it.
I'm disgusted.
Very.
Fuck.
Yeah,
I am disgusted.
they were so anti-kink shaming that they were like, yeah, bro, if you think that you want to write an explicit sex scene between a bloatfly and the muffler of a Jeep Durango, you do it. And it's like, what the fuck? There's a worm author out there that has 100-something stories of various Nazi characters getting it on with non-white characters. Yeah. I mean, look, some people have a fetish. Some people are really bad at hiding it. Like I said, if you kind of clearly have a fetish. If you are writing 112 stories, and they're majority stories of children aimed audiences, and you intentionally write the characters as gay when they aren't. That's called a fetish. It's weird.
Yeah.
It's even weirder when you then mark those stories with a explicit rating that makes it visible to children.
But Sneaky, don't you know what we're showing kids in school these days? Of course it'd be okay for them to read it on the internet.
Yeah, well, I also want to feed those people in school. I mean, like I've said for a very long time, even before that sort of shit started, that there's a large number of teachers that should be fed feet first into a wood chipper.
Fire up the journalists and teacher machines.
Indeed. Lord forbid you ever do the opposite sort of scenario, though. Yeah, exactly, yeah. Well, I mean, also...
again, that depends.
I mean, generally, I just kind of... Again, if an author comes out and says, hey, this character is gay, and they write it in the story that the character is gay, I think it's a little weird if you go in and write fan fiction about them being straight. It's just a little weird. I just personally don't understand it. That's just me. I just don't understand it. I can't. I don't understand the focus on it, the obsession with it. If you're that obsessed with sex, just go fucking have it. It's not hard.
They can't.
I know.
That and,
skill issue.
Maybe I should save that for after the podcast.
You should-
there are
you should definitely.
reasons they want to push that.
Oh, I'm aware. I'm aware of those reasons.
I can't visit Florida because they're persecuting me reasons.
Yeah, I know. Yeah. You can't guess BBDD can't continue. Yep. Yeah.
Yeah, can't write any more Saturday Night Special. Damn.
Yeah. Like I said, I just don't understand the focus. But I will reply to you here and not in Twitch because Twitch.
Yeah.
Because it's the truth.
Oof. Yep.
Yep.
Truth.
Yep.
That's that college phase.
Yeah. But it's just kind of weird. I just find it really weird that some authors are like this. It's just I don't get it. I mean, if you go on into these other other stories in this section, I mean, the Pokemon section is really not doing too hot, right? 59 favorites, 18 favorites, 13 favorites, 40 favorites, 0 favorites.
Sounds like it's not getting a lot of traffic.
Yeah, the Pokemon sections, I mean, for all the stories, because I mean, all of these stories were updated within updated today. Like, the front page is actually made of stories that were updated today. Is the next page still today? Okay, the next page ends with yesterday. But that's still pretty good. You know, that's still pretty good. The first 2 pages of a section are all updated stories of within 24 hours. That's pretty good. The fact that they're getting such low traffic, though, it's brutal. I mean, for the largest game series, this is the largest community in the game section. That's brutal that they are getting so little traffic these days. Also, I can sort of blame it on Pokemon itself. Pokemon did a really good job of killing off the hype. Really poorly optimized games, really poorly released games, a poor monetization structure. The Pokemon are not creative. The plots are dull. The mechanics are regressive. I mean, I know obviously Bravely Default is not as popular of a series as Pokemon is.
I am deeply sad about that.
But it's still a very popular series in Japan. But in Bravely Default, there's a lot of things you can turn on and off in terms of how the game mechanics operate. And they were very regressive in a lot of aspects when it came to game mechanics in the newer Pokemon games.
Well, that's because Nintendo keeps letting Game Freak get away with the dumbest shit when it comes to their IP.
Yep. And unfortunately, it keeps selling because the problem is that Pokemon is such a cultural juggernaut that kids want the new Pokemon game, never having had a Pokemon game before.
In Japan.
Well, it's not just that. It's kids want the new Pokemon game because they were too young when the last one came out, and so now they want the new one, which is fine. Except the previous generation either does buy or doesn't buy, but definitely, like, I don't see a lot of my generation talking about the Pokemon games anymore. Like, when I was in college, I could start a conversation about Emerald with anyone, and they would probably be able to talk about their time playing Emerald. But, like, I don't hear anyone really ever talking about, in my generation anymore, about Pokemon, besides the older games.
That's because the people that are older are the ones doing shit. Now everyone's playing that fucking Disney game for card games.
Also, if you're older and you're still playing Pokemon, then it's kind of a secret shame thing, or it's your first Pokemon, one or the other. Because having played Scarlet and Violet, I'm like, this game wasn't made for me. It wasn't made for my
Yeah, no,
my
it just was. Yeah, no, it
generation.
absolutely wasn't. And like that's the thing though, is like there was a period in time where the games were getting more complex and had better mechanics and were adding things into the game and they were cooler. And then I think it was Black and White where it really started going downhill and they started regressing mechanics and they started taking away things and like XP share is now just a default thing. It's just always XP shares everything all the time. You can't turn it off anymore.
Of course.
Out of curiosity, like, what exactly about Black and White would you say is where the game started regressing? Because I'm just kind of curious on that.
The plot. I think Black and White really lost me with the plot.
Okay, that's fair. Perfectly fair.
Yeah, like normally when it comes to the Pokemon games, it's like, oh, and here's the grunts, and then you fight the grunts, and they're like really mean, and they're the bad guys, and then you go on your journey. And then more grunts show up, and then you fight the grunts, and then the grunts are like, oh man, I can't believe you're here again, ruining our evil plans. We're gonna run away now, but you better not mess with us again. And then you continue your journey, and then you meet the grunts again, and the grunts are like, oh, you again, you're showing up here, you can't stop us, we're doing the evil plan now, we're doing the evil thing. You can't stop the evil thing. And then you stop the evil thing. And then the grunts go, damn, well, we're just gonna have to do phase 2 of our really evil plan. You better hope that you get out of here before we do it. And then you go on your journey, and then you meet the grunts again, and then you fight them again, and they're like, oh, well, phase 3 is where we take you down for real. And then you continue your journey, and then you fight the grunts again, and then the grunts get beaten finally, and they're like, ah, we're getting beaten, quickly, put the legendary Pokemon out onto the map. And then the legendary Pokemon show up on the map, and then you go fight the grunts for the legendary Pokemon. And then you continue your journey, and that's it. And then Black and White was like, we're gonna sit here and moralize you about how you're playing the game is evil.
I have a question for all of the grunts. Why didn't you just throw them in a jail cell?
Why didn't you just shoot them?
But
Look,
yeah,
guns are hard to find
Battle
after the
World.
Pokemon Wars.
because yeah, Black and White just started really like they tried to have like a new take on evil where it's like, oh, these are the bad guys. What do the bad guys want this time around? Oh, the bad guys think that you fighting Pokemon with your
I'll be right back. I'm
Pokemon
gonna
is
go let my dogs
evil
out.
and bad, and you shouldn't do it. And it's like, oh no, I mean, I don't disagree with them forcing Pokemon to fight is a bad thing. Also, by the way, they're super evil. They're even hyper evil. They're the evilest people ever. They love dog fights.
Or
like-
later on, it's eco-terrorism. That's why.
Yeah, and then later on, it's like humans are a plague and all need to die. It's like, It's like, can we just, the grunts come out and they're like, we're evil. We want Medicare for everyone. Yeah. Yeah, it's like,
Okay.
can we just go back to the grunts just being like normal evil? Like, can we stop trying to like have like this self-justifying reason as to why they're reasonably evil? And it's like,
No, because they can't write reasonably evil people.
oh, I know, but it's just. It's so
Like,
bad.
I want to steal Pokemon and make money. Is that so hard to fucking understand?
Yes. But yeah, it's just it hurts. Like these newer games hurts. Like, oh, is Final Fantasy Tactics good or overrated? I hear it's very good. If Atin and Max were here, they would probably reassure you that it's a great game. But I've never played it, so I can't tell you.
I've heard it's overrated.
Personally, I would just go with overrated, probably. Atin and Max don't have the best taste in fiction or games. If you've ever listened to them long enough, fucking you fighting with Atin over him defending the woke light.
The what?
The acolyte. I call it the wokalite.
The power of one, the power of two,
many.
the power.
Oh Jesus! Yeah, that bullshit.
Yeah, well, he was like, I don't know, I had problems with it, but I think it was a good Star Wars show. And it's like, no, shut the fuck up, Atin. It was a dog shit Star Wars show.
Like only like Disney and their fanatics are defending the show. Like I think someone posted a picture of like I know what's that tomato site that gives reviews like
Rotten Tomato.
Rotten Tomatoes.
That's it. And it says like it has like a 15% from the casual fan base or from the average audience. It's like Jesus fucking
Have you
Christ.
seen the fucking articles they're putting out about this?
Oh,
Oh, well,
yeah.
the Acolyte has a poor review score.
I saw
poor
someone
user
try to make a
score.
hit piece about the critical drinker and nerdrotic,
Yeah.
and it's like they've never said shit about this. You're just trying to get them banned by throwing bullshit.
No,
Well,
they're going after the audience. They're saying
fu-
if you rate it lowly, you should be ashamed of yourself.
The Acolyte has a low consumer score, and it's all your fault, and you should feel bad for rating it low because you're contributing to the anti-black sentiment. You hate gay people. That's why you don't like the Acolyte.
Woo! At this point, accuse me of things like that more, and I'll just claim them.
Right?
At this point, they're bad.
You're evil.
Honor.
Yes.
I'm evil? Okay, I guess I'm evil now.
Yeah. Oh well. Damn. It's
It's
crazy.
like interacting with Twitter. It's like every time you're called a phobe, it's like a new badge.
Yes.
Yes.
What's the fucking gif where it's like somebody's probably gonna kill themselves because of what you said? Are you happy with yourself? And the person's just like, yeah, I'm ecstatic. Yes. And the fucking video plays of the person like shaking their vest off to show their 100 medals, and they're putting another one on.
Based.
Yeah, it's like Twitter, for example, just throws that shit out like a buzzword. It's like, holy fuck. Like now it's just like with Disney vocalites, like might as well treat it the same.
Right, yeah, it's just like, do you want a medal for making this person kill themselves? Yes, if you would. Shakes vest out, all the medals clatter.
Just pin it right here at the bottom.
Yeah. Another one, please. But yeah, I mean, like, what makes a hero? Ash Ketchum just won the Kalos League and is on top of the world. However, he returns home to Pallet and is forced to question his reasons for even becoming a trainer and even the friends he made along the way. Ash has one more journey to take to find the answers his life is missing. Ash and May. Huh? Alright, see you, sign. It's like... Huh? Like, okay, so he's a champion, and then he returns home, and somehow everything is different. And now he's gotta go find himself? Because whatever happened made him question the friends he made along the way, so, like, it's gonna be some sort of stupid, like, semi-betrayal fic where it turns out that everyone was only invested in him for when he finally wins and becomes the champion, and then they're all gonna ask for shit from him or something. I swear to God, if that's what it is,
Ash becomes champion and every girl ever suddenly wants to bone him.
Midlife, yeah, it has a midlife crisis. Like that's what the question is like. Oh, he's questioning why he became a trainer. He became a trainer because he watched a lot of Pokemon battles when he was young and really wanted to do it. And then literally 90% of Ash's adventure has just been him traveling on momentum. I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's just a me thing, but I think people make such a big fucking deal out of this shit. Like, oh, why was I really doing this? I don't know. You got invested in it 20 years ago and never let it go, and so now you're here. It's like, why are you having a midlife crisis over it? It happened. It is what it is. You came, you did it, and then 20 years passed. After becoming the best there ever was, wouldn't you still struggle with imposter syndrome? No, I mean, he didn't become the best there ever was. He became the best in the Kalos League. He still has to win every other league. And then he has to beat all the previous champions in a giant world premiere. Then he would be the best there ever was. Like, you wouldn't say you're the best YouTuber ever if you don't have more subscribers than Mr. Beast and PewDiePie. Like, you can't say you're the best YouTuber until you beat them. You can't say you're the best until you are the best. And now, can you have imposter syndrome after trying to do YouTubing for a year and then suddenly near the end of the year, one of your videos just hits a major upswing and you go from having the average 100 views on your videos to having an average 1 million plus views on your videos? Oh yeah, absolutely. Imposter syndrome, totally understandable. I don't understand people who have imposter syndrome when they have put in literal decades of work into achieving a dream of theirs, and then they achieve it, and they're like, but what if I'm really not as good as I think I am? It's like, bro, you live for 80 years, usually at best. You put in a fourth of your life into trying to accomplish this. I don't think it matters if you're good or not at this point. 1/4 of your existence is gone.
Yeah, it's like I look at that. It's like, why would he feel like an imposter when he quite literally became the best?
Well,
He's the best.
it's not just that. It's like, why would he feel like an imposter in the Kalos League? I could understand him feeling like an imposter if he won the Kanto League. You know, first gym circuit ever and wins the Kanto League? Yeah, I would feel like an imposter after that, probably. Especially as a kid. Time the rope. Nice. Yeah. But yeah, you know, it's like Kalos is that's black and white, right?
Gallus is is French.
French. That's so
X
that's
and
X and Y, right? So that's after
Where Mega Evolution came. Yeah, it's after Black and White.
yeah, it's after black and white. Yeah. So that would be so. Ash has participated in the Kanto, Johto, Hoenn, Sinnoh, Orange, Battle Frontier, Black and White.
Unova. So yeah.
So Unova,
then-
right? And then finally Kalos. So Ash finally wins after winning the Orange League, after winning the Battle Frontier, which again is made of the elites of the elites. So he wins Orange League and Battle Frontier. So he wins 2 of the 8 challenges he does. He won 2 of them. One of them was the hardest ever. And in all 8 of these challenges, he at minimum placed in the top 16 with several hundred trainers applying each time. And then in his 8th attempt, he finally makes it to number 1. Why the fuck would you feel imposter syndrome? There's literally a minimum of 8 years.
I'd also like to point out every single time, well, nearly every single time beyond like Battle Frontier and Orange Island, he started from the bottom.
Yeah.
He started fresh, and he still got his way up there with like effectively a brand new team, and Pikachu getting nerfed.
Yeah, exactly, right? And it's like, I'm sorry, but like 8 years in, you finally win, and you're like, oh man, I don't know, maybe I have imposter syndrome, maybe I'm not that really good. It's like, get the fuck out of here.
Bro, fuck you.
Literally eat shit.
I would understand
Fuck
more
you
if
with
you're
every
saying,
single
like,
fucking like
Yeah,
thing possible.
every inch of my being, I eat shit, and
I would
die.
understand him like questioning his choices if he had say lost the Chaos League, and he's like, "Is this the right path? Am I really capable of being the best? Maybe I'm just fairly above average or something like that." You get what I'm trying
Yeah,
to say, right?
if you get like 8 years into Pokemon training and you've made it to the top 16 each time, but you keep losing at the top 16, you being like, man, maybe I'm just bad at this. I'd be like, okay, yeah, that makes sense. But you're not improving anymore. You're not making it farther each time. You're just barely scraping by getting there. Yeah, I mean, like, yo, you're definitely above average, but like above average in a world where everyone's a Pokemon trainer. You're above average at breathing. Congratulations.
Like he's made it through. Like Ash is probably one of the most competent trainers, and just in general, like every time he starts fresh, he starts with whole new teams, makes it up to the near top.
I mean, he's fairly incompetent these days. I mean,
true.
it really doesn't pay off. I mean, if they made him stack each time, if they made him grow older each time, I would agree with you. But I think the main problem is with his portrayal in the series is that despite actually being more incompetent every single season that comes out, because he really is, every single time he resets, he's somehow more incompetent than he was in the previous season. And he learns less lessons each time too.
Yeah.
Tell that to any
Who knows probably where
teacher,
he got
and
the
they'll
most
say the same
creative.
thing back. What? Tell a teacher to go? Tell a teenager to go eat shit, and they'll tell me to go eat shit. Yeah, it's okay. Whatever.
Yeah, like I just kind of just say more just like a general thing. Like, yeah, despite him getting dumber in each time, he's still managed to get fairly
Yeah,
high up.
he's still managing to get far. So, like, but what I'm trying to say is, like, I'm trying to build this out. Like, okay, so he's in the Unova League, unless he started in the Unova League. Or sorry, Kalos League. So he wins the Kalos League, but clearly he didn't. Clearly, the author isn't implying that he started with the Kalos League, because he's having Ash go back, get into a relationship, question the friends he made along the way, question his reasons for doing this. So he's clearly saying that Ash went on all of his previous journeys. Which is why I'm saying that there's no reason for Ash to feel like an imposter. I mean, obviously, yes, people aren't logical all the time, and Logic Man doesn't always win. But it's I'm trying to say is that there's a reason why this story has 60 follows and favorites. Homie is having a 1/8 life crisis. Yeah, exactly. There's a reason why this story has such a low favorite and follow count, despite being ongoing for 5 years now, with 26 chapters, with 3K words per chapter. So I mean, also that does harm it. Let's be clear here. So he's got 26 chapters spread out over the course of 5 years. It's pretty brutal. It's a very slow update rate. But what I found is that people don't tend to unfollow unfavorite stories. They just stop reading them. They just hit read on the update. They don't delist themselves from it. Right. I mean, we've seen that plenty of times in the SDM of, oh, I got this alert for this story I don't like. Why don't you unfollow from that story? Yeah, that's the attitude of a lot of people. So I'm assuming that 60 favorites is generally going to be the range of his average progress for this story in terms of people following it. it's a very hard story to empathize with. You're not going to learn a lot reading it. You're not going to explore a lot of ideas. At that age of a story, it sucks. Oh, absolutely, 100% sucks. But I'm more talking about how you're not going to really, you're not going to attract a large viewer base with it, with the idea, with the premise itself. Like, ignoring its absolutely abysmal update rate and its small chapters, right? Just the sheer premise alone is not very interesting. Because it's about, oh, I found a massive amount of success after trying really hard for a very long time, and then I got a girlfriend, and then I had to sit down and have a midlife crisis. Bro, no one's fucking relating to you. I was massively successful early on in my life, and now I'm having a midlife crisis. That is the same shit that you know, YouTubers get fucking dunked on by their audiences for. Where the YouTuber's like, oh man, you know, my life is so hard. I'm very stressed out. I'm making only $300,000 every week. And the audience tells them to shut the fuck up. Because that's what it is, right? Did the author peak in high school? Yeah. Yeah, exactly, right? Yeah. You know, and that's what I'm saying, though, right? Like, no one is really going to click on this story because, like, you know, people click on your stories for a lot of reasons. They click on the story because they're horny. Understandable. They click on the story because it's power fantasy. Understandable. You know, they click on the story because it's an interesting what if. You know, what if Naruto had a bloodline, and that bloodline was the chakra chains? All right, I'm interested in that idea. What happens if he does that? Tell me, author. Right? You know, people click on the stories for interesting what ifs. People click on the stories because they like the character. People click on the stories because it's a self-insert, or they like the framework. So, you know, it's a waifu catalog story, they click it, right? I am suffering from success of being a very young person who ended up finding success very early in my life after putting in a lot of work. And now I'm having a 1/8 life crisis. You aren't going to attract a lot of sympathy, empathy, or interest with a premise like that. Especially not when the premise resolves into you getting a girlfriend and organizing your life and figuring out where you want to go with it. You're going to get even less people clicking on that because because they're not there.
Like, the whole midlife crisis shit sounds like something that would be better at least kind of explored midway. Like, I don't know, Ash is kind of doing his journey. He's kind of getting to the point where it's the end. He's like kind of just questioning, what's he gonna do next? Like, what's the
Yeah.
next step? Like, kind of questions his goals, stuff like that. Like, that at least would be fair because, like, as far as Kenny goes, Ash is always just going to the next league, next league, next league. So maybe having a break where he kind of just pauses and actually takes a serious thought of, like, I need
Well,
to think about
sure.
it. That's fine.
A retrospect story is actually quite interesting. You know, obviously, Freeman Beyond Journey's End is literally that. It's a retrospective about what happens after the hero's party wins. A what the fuck do I do type of story. Yeah, that's an interesting story.
I mean, yeah.
I won. I did the thing that I set out to do. Now what?
Just like, what am I supposed to do now? There's no one.
I spent so much time on the journey that I didn't think about the destination. It's an interesting retrospective, philosophical type of story that gets people's interest. That's not what this is. This is a story that portrays itself as a retrospective where Ash has a midlife crisis, but it's Ash has a midlife crisis after being super successful and gets a girlfriend.
Fuck you in particular, ass. Fuck you.
Yeah. Someone linked the Hassan clip where he says streaming is the hardest job. I mean, okay, look. I mean, a lot of people should give Hassan shit for that, and I fully agree with them. But at the same time, right? Being a CEO is one of the hardest jobs. Being a streamer is one of the hardest jobs. You have to absolutely be. You have to be a very unique person to succeed and thrive in this job type. I mean, like, look, you know, fucking Biden has a TikTok, okay? He has like 5 million followers. He has nothing. He doesn't get any views on TikTok. Trump got more views in one TikTok video that he made and posted. That's right. Trump also has a TikTok now, by the way. Trump posted one TikTok video and got more views on that single video than Biden did in all of his videos together for the month. Just because you're a well-known name doesn't mean you succeed the popularity contest. So you have a good head start, don't get me wrong. You know, Mr. Beast didn't start at ground zero. Mr. Beast didn't start poor. Mr. Beast started with a lot of fucking money. So he could pull some shit out of his ass to make his YouTube career take off. But just because he's able to make that plane launch early doesn't mean he can prevent it from crashing. Depends what you consider success. Hassan spends his days being a clout demon. Others can take a slower route while getting less views and engagement. You're adding extra stress into your life. I don't know. I still think it's very stressful. I mean, even, you know, look at people like Tim Pool. He's 32 or something, and he's getting gray hairs. Sargon is like 38, and he's got a nearly full gray beard now. You know, Sargon isn't the sort of person that I would say is like a nose to grindstone, churning out the videos left and right kind of guy. Sargon was very methodical. Methodical, yeah. About his.
It's okay. You'll find the words eventually.
I just have to figure out how to pronounce it. Fuck off.
True.
You know, he was very methodical about it, and while he did used to do the whole idiots and stupid thing, and he used to be a more weekly content poster on his original channel, I mean, he ended up growing that into a full-on media empire, okay? And he's done way less now. He spent a lot more time with his family these days. He spends a lot more time, you know, making videos about him painting Warhammer figurines with his son than he does about political content. It's clearly still a very stressful job, right? He made a lot of mistakes in 2010s, especially with his political attempts. Yeah. I still think it would have been funny as fuck if he became an elected official. I thought that would be so fucking funny. But point being though, bad turn during the Bloodsports days. Yeah, he did. But still, point being is that, you know, like Bloodsports. Thank you for bringing that up. You know, a lot of those streamers try to turn to Bloodsports to try and pump their numbers, and obviously that added a massive amount of stress to their life, and, you know, a lot of them fucking broke. Okay, you know, Shiwan Head on the flip side, rarely posts, never really posted all that much in general to start with. Still stressed. Still a stressful job. If you don't post a lot, you have to make every post count. And when your ability to live is based off of your ability to make people care about what you post, still stressful. I'm not saying Hassan's right and that it's the most stressful, but it's way more stressful than a lot of people think and a lot of people give credit for. Because a lot of people look at streamers and just go, oh, well, we're just talking at a camera for like hours.
Yeah, you're just talking at the camera. It's the same thing with writing.
Oh, you're just writing on a page.
It's
Yeah.
like, oh, I can write, and then they write like the shit that we have to read on
They
this
write
fucking
this,
stuff.
yeah. The things we are. Josh normal until 30% of world turned into Pokemon. He himself is now Espeon and must figure out how to live when world around him changes. Huh? Yeah, oh wow, yeah, you can really write there, buddy. Nah. A lot of these fucking people can't write. A lot of these fucking people can't stream. You know, a lot of these fucking people were never going to succeed in the first place because they just don't have the mentality, the constitution, the will, whatever you want to put in there. They don't have it. This applies to fanfiction too, but maybe to a lesser extent since money typically isn't involved. Where you can take a stressful path, but maybe for better success if you can pull it off. But it's like using your soul as fuel. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Very much real. If you take a Patreon, and I'm sure if Sign was here, he would be agreeing with this. If you take a Patreon, you are definitely putting yourself on a clock. Every day you don't release a chapter, you can lose people giving you money. And if you've turned your job into writing, every day you're not putting out a chapter is a day you could lose more of your income source. That's a terrifying thought for people. And it's understandably a terrifying thought for people, but it's still a terrifying thought for people, right? And then not only is every chapter you put out have to be on par with everything you put out previously, otherwise you lose people, but you have to make it better because you need more people. Because usually you're not out the gates hitting 3K money to live off of. Usually you're out the gates, you're hitting like 1-2K and you're making some money off comms and you're kind of floating there, but you need more people. Which means you need to be putting out either more chapters, or you need to be taking in more ideas from people that aren't you, which means that you need to find the enthusiasm that normally would fuel your writing. You need to scrape that enthusiasm together. You need to conjure it out of nothing to make a story that's popular with the people paying you into a reality to make them pay you
Like,
more.
it is not fucking easy to just be going, like, you think it's gonna be just like, oh yeah, I'll just stream my favorite games. Like, dog, sometimes they're just not gonna show up.
Well, it's not just that either, right? I can go stream Stellaris 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, and I think the only thing that will draw people to my streams is the fact that I'm doing it 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I was back in the day of 2017. I'm sorry, 2016 actually. I did the hardest run of Dishonored 2. No magic, hardest difficulty, no deaths, no spots.
Most sane Stellaris player.
This is Dishonored 2.
I know what I said.
Oh, that's fair.
Better.
That's fair. But so I did the hardest playthrough you can do. And I got to the final level. Some of those stages took me hours to beat. Because I had to wait for the AI to be in a perfect position before I could make my next move. And I had to be methodical about it as I progressed through the level. Because one mistake would fuck me over. The other side of the coin is that, as in addition to going fast, by the way, like only like 6 people showed up to those streams, to be clear. So like I attempted and successfully did something that's absurdly hard with skill, and no one showed up. So it is what it is, you know. And you know, clearly I can be entertaining to an extent. I can interact with the audience to an extent, but you know, doing these challenge runs, you can't really interact with the audience. You're relying on your skill to keep people around. The other side of the coin is, in addition to going fast, you also need to be engaging. You can't really screw anything up with the storyboarding, especially your spag. Absolutely, 100%. Yep, that's the other thing, is that if you're releasing a chapter every single week, you need to know what you're doing, where you're going. You need to know, because by the time you are posting one chapter, honestly, half of the next chapter should be already done. And that's a brutal pace to keep. That's a brutal pace to keep without making a mistake. Because especially when it comes to writing, because everything compounds on itself. You know, you make a mistake in chapter 10, that mistake is going to haunt you until the story is done. You know, people are going to complain about it. You're going to lose people over it. Now, God forbid you put a chapter out that's disagreeable to a large portion of your payer base for something you probably didn't even know about. Like, oh, you know, you made this joke, and then it turns out that a large portion of the people that pay you got offended by that joke and stopped paying you. And there was no way for you to know that would have occurred until that very moment. So, point being, shit's hard. I'm not saying that other jobs aren't stressful. I'm not saying working retail isn't stressful. It certainly fucking is, right? I'm not saying that. But I'm saying a lot of people don't give streamers credit because they feel like their job is easy. And that shit's hard. You have to figure out games that you can talk at, interact with the audience with, that are interesting to watch, that you're good enough to, either you're good enough at that people will stay to watch you play the game and interact and chat, or you're bad enough at, but not too bad at, that the audience will sit around and make fun of you for. And then on top of all of that, it's got to be a game engaging enough in general. You know, no one's going on to Twitch to go watch someone play Firewatch. You know, that walking sim game where you look out into the wide expanse of trees and watch for fires. No one's going on to Twitch to watch you play that. They're just not. They're going on Twitch to watch you play the Rootin' Tootin' Shootin' game. They're going
on Twitch to watch someone play Apex and then type Lamau when you fucking die.
Exactly, right. You know, it's hard. It's stressful. And, you know, these pros, they can get away with not streaming too often. But at the same time, they have to play the game often. Oh, you have to play the game 12 hours a day. It's like, bro, can you...
Have you played a game for 12 hours a day? It is fucking awful.
And it's like, yeah, sure, the game's fun the first time you do it for 12 hours a day. Now do it tomorrow. Now do it the day after that. Now do it for the next 40 days straight, uninterrupted. You have to get up, eat breakfast, play the game for 12 hours, add stimulating commentary while doing so. If you're fighting other people while doing so, you have to also be thinking about what they're doing. Look at what chat's saying. You know, fucking respond to that shit. They have to do that for 12 hours every single day for a month straight. and then maybe you'll have 20 viewers. And then you do it for the next month, and maybe you have 30 viewers now. And the next month, maybe you have 45 viewers now. That shit's brutal. That's worse than retail. Absolutely. Firewatch is a game I uninstalled immediately. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But, like, 12 hours a day. You think a job's hard? 8 hours a day job is hard? Oh, man. Cubicle job? Oh, I wish I would play that gaming. Oh, no. When you say I wish I did that gaming, what you mean is I wish I was playing this game while I was hopping around on my Discord, listening to music, and replying to my friends. You don't mean 12 hours of the game. You mean a period of time of which, in those 12 hours, you were playing the game. Not 12 hours of the game. Every single day. For the next 5 years. And God forbid you get sick. Or your throat can't talk that day. And then people leave your stream. And you're a has-been now.
This sucks.
Lame. You suck. A normal Destiny player. Yeah, some people are just built different.
Why aren't you playing my hyperfixation?
Yeah. Anyway, it is 10 o'clock. We will see you all on Friday because there is always more. And it always